I'm laughing because people are like, it's time to groove. It always gets me pumped. Yes, that's right, ladies and gents. We're in, of course, today with your favorite podcast, episode number 61, Grooving and a Moving. This is the H-Cast. How are you all doing today on this very warm British day? We're getting a bit of an Indian summer here. If you don't know what that is, it's where it gets very warm in autumn and winter. Goodness me, sweating. But we've got a fantastic podcast for you today. Once again, this is your favorite podcast, and we've got a fantastic show. We've got Godzilla -1, the Marvels, Godzilla -1, the trailer, incredible. We're going to talk about that. We've got the Equalizer 3. We're going to review that. We've got the Marvels, the market manipulation, the shills. They're out in force already. We've got Warner Brothers Discovery. We've got all manner of bits and pieces to cover today. So I hope you're all well. I hope you're all enjoying this lovely weather. Hopefully you're having lovely weather and a lovely evening, day, morning, whatever it is, where you are. I am joined, of course, by my illustrious panel. We've got Culture Casino. We've got Tom Connors and Jonas J. Campbell. How are you all doing, chaps? You all good?
Yeah.
Extraordinary. Wonderful. Tremendous.
Good. Bring in the energy. Try
El Fantastico.
There's people watching.
Hi, people.
I know, 153 of them, but are there 153 thumbs up? Please do hit that thumbs up button on your way in. Guys, it's not for the stream itself. The stream gets unlisted. Let me go through the spiel. I just hit my microphone. Sorry. Let me go through the spiel. So, do this every time as we get started on this stream. The podcast, your favorite podcast. Thumbs up, very important. It's to hopefully tell YouTube to notify you that the show is live, that we're active, that we're going, and that you guys can join your favorite podcast. So hit that thumbs up button. The reason why I say that, the stream gets unlisted the moment we finish anyway. So it's not for the show. It's not for me to sort of get, views on the video per se, but hopefully for you guys to tune in and get notified of your favorite podcast going live. I will say as well, from the off, guys, this show is funded by you guys, for you guys. It gets demonetized all the time. Don't know why. It's become basically a bit of a meme here on the H-Cast. But send in your super chats. It helps a lot. It goes a long way. It funds the show. It keeps the literal lights on. But what it also does is you've got a captive audience here. And we will literally take all of your comments, your questions. We'll go through it. We'll discuss everything that you pose as a question. It can be topical, what we're going to be talking about, but it can also be anything, quite literally anything. So we will talk about whatever you do via
Just don't ask us where babies come from, because we quite haven't figured that out yet.
Well, that's an instant.
As soon as we know, we will let you know.
Oh dear, oh dear. So yeah, guys, obviously I've got to say this stuff all at the start, but hopefully you're not too perturbed by that. Speaking of asking things and Tom Connors and your fantastic effects, what did you think of my little compilation of your rap clips on the second channel?
I didn't get a chance to check it out yet, but I was here when I did do the rest. But I want to check out the compilation. I haven't got a chance to yet, so I can share it out. But yeah,
it's gold.
But Robin in the Hood's gonna rob the hood.
Oh my, that's gonna be a hit. Global.
They did it. It's not my fault. They made him a rap group called The Hood.
Oh no!
It's absolutely good. Robin Hood. I don't want to get into too much, but Robin Hood is a brand new Canadian show for Global TV. Robin with a Y and Hood.
It's with a Y, so you ask why.
So you don't ask why, because of course, why not? She's black and she's a woman, and that's Robin Hood. Why not? That's why it's with a Y.
And she's stealing from the rich.
And no giving to the poor.
That's right. No giving to the just stealing from the rich.
That sounds like something that they would have come up with in the 90s, honestly.
No, Jonas.
It sounds like a stereotypical bad guy out of a 90s movie.
Honestly, guys, when Robin Hood Men in Tights is more closer to the source material than Robin Hood Global TV Canadian shite, you've got a problem, quite frankly. I mean, seriously? Man alive. Right, okay. So, guys, hit that thumbs up button. Hope you're all having a great day. Where are you all in the world? Leave it down below in the chit chat right now. I've never asked this before. I do it on my own chill streams, but I never do it when we're doing the Hcast. But I'd love to know where you're all tuning in from. So chuck it down below. Let's get into our first topic of the day. It's only me and you, Culture. He did spend a lot of time sitting down, didn't he?
Yeah.
That promo didn't land on Plymouth Rock. That landed on us.
Give me your thoughts, Culture. What did you think of Equalizer 3? So, obviously, just FYI, guys, it's only me and Culture that have seen Equalizer 3. So, we're going to review it for you. What did you think?
Well, leave it to Denzel Washington to make sitting just entertaining as all get out. I mean, honestly, I didn't say this during my own review. I was saving it for here, but he sat around a lot. There was a lot of sitting.
Well, no, he's in his 60s. Come on.
Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. You couldn't tell. I mean, he was sitting around. He kind of got injured, in the film itself. And look, he was brilliant in this. He can say no words and act his butt off. I mean, it was phenomenal. But I was most impressed, and I'll say that not just by him, because he's an Oscar winner for lots of reasons, but the cinematography here, every angle of every shot was planned beginning to end. Antoine Fuqua is a mastermind, or whoever he hired as a cinematographer. Because
watch your mouth.
What did I?
Fuqua.
Now you made Mr. H say it.
The director's name. It sounds.
Yes, Antoine Fuqua is a great director, and it's the only director that Denzel says he'll work for anymore. Isn't that right, Culture?
This is true, and I loved and I loved it. I mean, like I said, every single shot in this was so crisp, beautiful, planned out. There was like 4 drone shots in a row that were perfectly coordinated that I was losing my mind over. I'm like, and not only that, they delineate the different levels of the bad guys by whether they drive motorcycles or luxury cars. I mean, there's elements in this thing where I was like, well, yes, that's exactly right. It was so well done. And the misdirect, the reveals, all the things that happen on your way from beginning to end. And they only tease you. The trailer literally was a tease of the beginning of the movie. There's very little from the rest of the movie that's in the trailer. So you are not going to be spoiled going into this. And I'm not going to spoil it because it's that good. It's that good. I gave it a 9 out of 10. 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's high praise. So
where would you stack it up against the other 2 equalizers then?
Oh, this is the best of the 3.
What? Whoa.
Really? Even better than the first one.
Okay, the first one was great. Whoa. I'm talking as a piece of cinema, as pure film. Equalizer 1 was great, lots of shootiness, right? But this one was less shooting. Pew. It was way less pew pew. Yeah, it was way less in this one, but everything had more impact. There are 2 moments in this film you will leave your seat because they are that surprising. They're
I thought you just meant it was long enough that I'll have to pee twice.
No, it's a short movie. 100.
It is actually pretty short. All right. Well, okay. Interesting. Right. So you say that there's a lot less, there's a lot more time and a lot less pew pew pew. So there's a lot more sort of character development. So
yeah,
I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was fantastic. But on your note of saying that there's more character development, right?
Yeah.
It actually has to have that.
Oh,
because it's the third. But listen, because it's the 3rd movie in the franchise. And the first one didn't need as much because it was built into the narrative of who he is and what he's doing and where he's situated in his current life.
Yeah.
So you actually had so when I discussed this, I was like, look, these movies are feel-good movies because they are, right?
They are.
But they're feel-good movies in the sense that they're moralistic feel-good movies. This chap is going about his business and he will fuck up the bad guys because he can.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to, but he will because he can when it serves a moral integrity aspect, right?
Yes.
And so the first movie has all that built in because he's established. It's where he works. You see him going about his day-to-day life. You see it with his little sort of OCD aspect when he's late night and he's folding his little handkerchiefs and all that kind of stuff. This movie had to spend a lot longer on establishing why he would defend this town as opposed to just going, fuck this shit, bye-bye. So it had to have a lot less pew 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 pew. And I feel like it actually did a very good job of balancing that. I wouldn't say it's better than the first one. Personally, I'd say it's better than the second one, and it's closely on par with the first, but not quite. Okay. Closely on par, but not quite. Because to me, it didn't quite grab the emotional weight of the first one, because you really felt like everything he was doing, you really felt it. You really felt it. This one was like, close.
I know where you're coming from. I'm just going to say I felt this one more. And the reason being is because I fell in love with the people in that town.
I agree with you there. I fell in love. That they were like, they see you as one of them now. I like that.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. I mean, they just started to treat him. He's walking around, and these are not spoilers, guys, but I'm going to tell you something that I've mentioned before, and I think Tom can add to, even though he hasn't seen the film yet. The town is its own character. It's its own being. It's its own person. There is a great love here, and the character development was ridiculous.
To take an element from your name, it's the culture of the town that comes across very well on the screen. So I will agree with you. The cinematography was beautiful. Every frame could have been a poster. If you had seen any of those frames on a postcard, you would have bought it straight away. You'd have gone, I'm buying that. I'm going to ship that off home to whoever at home, whatever, who cares. It was beautiful. It was very, very well made. Very, very well made.
Hey, can I ask a question in this? Where is this? Where is this set? Is this
Italy?
Okay, cool. Okay,
seaside town. It looked like it could have been the Amalfi Coast, but it wasn't. It's that sort of beautiful Mediterranean coastal Italy town. It was absolutely staggeringly beautiful.
They call it like Altamonte or something.
Yeah, I never bothered to look to see if it was a real place, but I mean, I'm liking it to the Amalfi Coast because it was red hot sun the whole time. It looked beautiful. It was just a beautiful place. The cinematography was great. I will say, the action, there was no one point where I'm sat there going, this is like a 60-year-old bloke doing this. Didn't take me out of it at all. No. The action was great, very well made, and this isn't your. I would liken this to a John Wick film in the perspective that this lead character gets injured and suffers, and really suffers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even just, obviously you've seen the film, the opening of the film specifically suffers quite a lot of the impetus behind what happens in the
that moment
events.
That moment where he's leaving, that situation, and then you're like,
and he's just sat there like, oh, fuck. It's that moment, and you clock it in his face. And this is the good thing about Denzel Washington's a great actor. He's an Oscar winner, but he's an Oscar winner from the time where Oscars meant something. But he's so very good. The nuance in his face, where he was just like, I fucked up here. Christ, like, what have I done? But it rang true. It was like, I've really slipped up here. I overlooked this. My mistake.
And instead of the mystery box not being revealed at the very end of the movie, you now understand the motivation. Yeah, it was so.
I like that a lot. I thought it was brilliant. That's a fantastic. So, no spoilers, but the end of the movie is a fantastic callback to the first movie, and it ties itself in a nice big bow. And if I didn't see any more of these movies, I'd be very happy. I think this is a fantastic send off to the character, and a very nice big loop for the character and everyone involved in the first movie and this one. Brilliant film. Would highly recommend. And it's a movie that I was very surprised to see in the theaters. And what I mean by that is, it's just not, you just don't see these films in theaters anymore. You don't see them. Yeah, you see the John Wick, but that has a big. When was the last Equalizer film? I mean, they released that garbage series. They don't release these films very often. No. And to see it in
that's theaters, what surprised me is it's been 5 years since the sequel, and that's where I was surprised also to see how well it's playing on Labor Day weekend as opposed to 4th of July, which the other two opened up on.
Second biggest Labor Day weekend in record history.
Which is okay. That's like saying, look,
it's not great.
It's like saying, it's one of the worst weekends of the summer. So, like, almost every year that record's broken. Like Shang-Chi broke the record.
Well,
that's what I mean. Like, I think it originally was set by Freddy versus Jason years ago, and then that was the thing for a while. That so people are like, oh, we can release something like that near the end of August that isn't exactly for kids, and
I will say this because a lot of people have commented here and elsewhere that I'm convincing them to see this film. Don't go in there thinking this is going to be an explosive action thing.
It's not a shoot 'em up.
Yeah, don't go in there. Don't go in there if you don't appreciate movies for what they are, the ability for them to convey a great deal of emotion, to have a whole lot of depth, things like that, then I don't want you to go in there oversold and be mad at me. I'm just telling you, if you like just amazingly made, high quality, beginning to end, good story movies, this one should not disappoint.
All you guys have said it's better than the second film, and as long as it's better than the second film, then that's fine.
It is.
It's a
because to me the second film was a little bit of a step down from the first movie because it lost the episodic nature and feel of the first movie, which kind of made it feel like, okay, I knew that the old Equalizer TV show was. I hadn't seen it in years, but I understood the concept. I like the idea that you get into it and there's these 4 or 5 cases that he's dealing with or whatever you want to call them. They're not necessarily cases, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they all kind of, a couple of them kind of tie together to a big end sequence, which I thought was neat. The second film, it got too into the interpersonal shit, especially when you have an old partner gone bad and they telegraph that from a mile away. And it's probably one of Pedro Pascal's worst performances of all time. And I mean, he's a great actor. I don't like him personally, but I mean, as far as acting goes, I mean, he can act his ass off. And in that movie, he's horrible. Yeah. And then you have also the other partner getting killed or whatever, his old partner. So it's like that whole thing just kind of feels too much like a Lethal Weapon kind of movie than it does Equalizer. And then, so I was hoping that what you guys are saying is this movie's getting back more to the, kind of episodic Western feel.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Right. I mean, this is a man with a gun, like the old Western sheriff, and that's exactly.
Wow. For a lot of the part, he doesn't, does he? He doesn't have a gun.
No, well, and that's again, there is so much beauty in how this film.
That's the other thing. Now I gotta ask Nate about this because a lot of people are comparing this to the Halloween films. They're saying that basically,
what?
They're saying
reverse Halloween.
Yeah, like Denzel Washington, from Michael Myers' perspective, because Denzel Washington is basically like Michael Myers, the way he moves and the way he navigates and the way he kills. That it's basically like seeing a Halloween movie, but it would have been from Michael Myers' perspective. Yeah.
I think that's an oversimplification. I think that there's, I think so. To answer that, without going into too much spoilers, I think what they're referencing is the end of the movie.
Yeah.
When he puts on a wet mask.
No. Yeah. Might as well, he literally skins William Shatner, actually, what he does.
Well, they didn't say it like that, but I mean, like the way he moves and just the silent killer and all that kind of business. Yeah.
So I think it's an oversimplification, actually. I think what he does very well at the end of the movie is a certain amount of stealthness. Yeah. I wouldn't really say it's like a reverse Halloween. I think even culture would sort of disagree with that, to be fair.
Okay, so I love to do this with movies I haven't seen. But okay, so how does it compare to, I'll just throw one out there. Book of Eli. Is it better than Book of Eli?
Ooh.
Yeah, I'd say so. It's a different base, but I'd say so.
All right, John Q. That's kind of a deep cut there.
Oh, John Q. Wow.
I'll let culture answer that one.
Oh, just ever so slightly. Again,
I got one more. I got one more to throw at you.
You're dealing with Denzel Washington.
There's a lot of endearingness roped into the story that endears.
Oh, I'm curious to hear what Jonas's other one is, but
Man on Fire.
Oh, it's right on the same level.
See, that's the other one I was going to say. Is a lot of people are saying it pays homage to that in a way, and it's almost kind of a weird sequel. And I'm not going to say any more than that, Jonas. I'll leave it at that since nobody else said anything. And yeah. But I think it's only fair to compare these to the other films because this is the first time that Denzel's ever done a series, right? He's never done a sequel before.
Yeah,
like a franchise type deal. I'd agree.
Yeah, so even though I think he's supposed to be in some upcoming sequel, what was it?
God, I've got no idea.
Trying to remember now, but he wasn't in the original, but he's going to be in the sequel, I think, and I can't remember what it was. I'll have to look.
Malcolm X2.
Yes, Back from the Dead.
X-Men United.
Guys, let's get us some epic super chats because we've had some great comments.
Oh yeah, that's it. I remember what it was now. It was that stupid Gladiator 2 he's supposed to be in.
Oh,
is he?
Okay.
Yeah, he's listed in the cast for Gladiator 2. Yeah, if it happens.
I've got some inside information about Gladiator 2, which I'll get to in a second. If you all want to know some inside scoops in the hot,
sure, why not?
No one knows anything about this. This is not nowhere online. You'll find this. This is an exclusive, and it's not good.
Oh no!
So, but anyway, let's get in some super chats, ladies and gents. So again, if you want to support the show, super chats are the way to do it. So your favorite podcast is funded by you guys, for you guys. So the super chat, super sticker, that's the way to do it. Become a member of the channel, become a patron, all that good stuff. That is the way to support your favorite podcast. So we've got a fantastic £4.99 super chat here from Comrade Commissar Yuri. It says, H, did you catch that Axe Hand Morgan in One Piece was Judge Lex in Dread? I did. And it was fantastic. I should have included that in my review, in fairness. So that's my bad. But yeah, Axe Hand Morgan. We're going to get on to One Piece in a minute later in the show. So I don't want to spoil it too much. But yes, fantastic. Bloody brilliant. I don't know if anyone else caught that.
Not offhand, but
not fully watched it all.
I recognized him though.
Yeah, there was something about him. You're like, oh,
yeah,
he's familiar.
Yeah, I was trying to place him. I'm like, I've seen him before. Yeah,
Judge Lex in Dread.
But I see a lot of people mentioning Man on Fire. Do most people know that it's a remake? And Scott Glenn was in the original.
Yeah. Well, most people don't know that Scarface is a remake.
Well, yeah, but that's a little.
Would I say, well, yeah.
But this is like came out in 87 and Man on Fire came out like not even 10 years after the original.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
I mean, at least with Scarface, it barely resembles the original. It's only a name only, and the idea that, it's a gangster with a scar.
Yeah, conceptually, right.
The sister part is similar, yeah. Sorry, anyway.
Hey, you for $5 says, here's a little more cheddar. Thank you very much. I do like that cheese. That's why I like brie. Now, I'd like you all to explain to me, what is a woman? Keep up the great podcast.
That's the second question we're not allowed to answer.
We're demonetized. But this is, of course, your favorite podcast, and we will keep going as long as you guys keep watching, and we're going from strength to strength. What is a woman? An adult, human, female? Anyone else have any answers?
Well, when the sperm fertilizes the egg. No.
Please continue, Mr. Freeman. We want to know how babies are born. We were that close.
I'm trying to think if it's the 2-week point. I'd have to remember my biology here of when the actual
it's then when the magic of life.
When the Y chromosome. No.
But you got to say when the magic of life begins.
And bingo, dino DNA.
Oh dear, goodness me! Right, we've got another one from Hey You for $20. Says Equalizer 3 was entertaining. I'd not seen the previous two, so I didn't know the character. Seeing Denzel with Dakota made me want to watch Man on Fire again. I find that story and Denzel's character more interesting. That is interesting to hear from someone that hadn't actually seen the others, but watched this and still found it entertaining. That's the craft of a good sequel movie, to be able to drop into it, right? To be able to drop into it as a standalone. It's one of the issues with Ahsoka, quite frankly, is that you've got to have all this sort of, peripheral information to kind of get to grips with the characters. This, you just watch and be like, yes, cool movie, entertaining.
Well, I'll even throw this in here, like Lethal Weapon 2. You can drop into that movie and still enjoy the relationships in Lethal Weapon 2. Ahsoka, there are no relationships that are interesting. There are relationships that maybe there's something going on there. There is no camaraderie in that movie. It's just in that show. It's just everybody staring at each other, not saying anything and not emoting. Oh, culture.
Oh dear. Well, thank you so much, Hey You. Really appreciate the $20. So we've got two from Daniel M. Daniel M sent in $9.99 and then another $9.99. It looks like that's a duplicate. So look, I'm not a grifter. I'm not someone that wants to take your money needlessly. Please do refund the first $9.99, my dude, because it looks like that's gone through and then a duplicate's come through. So it'll take double the money by the looks of it. So please do. You can refund it yourself. Refund that $9.99. I don't want you to be stung like that. That would not be good. I would not be happy to see that, my dude. But Daniel M for $9.99 says, "Hey guys, after Prey being successful, do you think Disney can pull off a good AVP movie?" I'm going to take the lead on this, and I'm going to say Prey is not indicative of Disney pulling off a good Predator movie. Prey was actually in play alongside The Predator. So it's not, Prey does not denote Disney's ability to make a good sci-fi horror alien movie, quite frankly, at all.
In this case, the leftovers just happen to be better, I guess.
Well, I mean, it's more specifically that 20th Century Fox greenlit a pretty decent movie that Disney just chose to continue with.
Yeah,
but do I think Disney can pull off?
But yeah,
yeah. So do I? But do I think that Disney can pull off a good AVP movie? A lot of people forget that Disney, as an owner of subsidiary agents, actually released some of the Hellraiser movies. They owned Miramax. And they released quite a lot of horror movies. So they can do it if they let those subsidiary companies do their own thing.
Yeah.
If they do that, yes. Your thoughts, guys in the panel?
Oh, man. I remember that Blue Sky period when Fox got purchased, and I was like plotting, like, okay, we could make Lucasfilm like the place where all of the legacy brands go. Put Predator there, put Aliens there, put Planet of the Apes there. Man, would that have been a bad call? Whew.
You know, that's the sad part, because Jonas, I agree with you almost except for one thing. Like, they bought the company, and at that point a lot of people joked, oh, they bought it just so they could get Star Wars and X-Men and stuff like that and clean up the Fantastic Four and all that business. And I was like, yes, that's part of it, but that's not the big scheme. The big scheme here is they want the catalog, but they have done jack all with the catalog, and the very few things that they've touched have been just Predator, and we've got some alien stuff coming.
Yeah,
and
do you think that alien stuff is because Ridley Scott is still interested in aliens?
Partially. I think coming off of Nate's point, is this is stuff that was already in the pipeline before Disney bought them. And that's why, and I think there was so much already put into them that they're just like, okay, we'll just let those continue.
The finance deal's in place already.
I agree with you though. You're spot on though. They should have created a whole new kind of like division of themselves where that's all they handled. It was Aliens and Predator, and put them all under one kind of like ownership. Maybe even went out there and tried to get their hands on the Terminator rights or something like that, and kind of got them all conglomerated under one, because they already had Die Hard 2 as well. They have that all under the same kind of roof. So I mean, even though I don't want any Die Hard sequels, you know, or prequels for that matter, because that was another bad idea, and I'm glad that got killed in the process of the sale, because that was one of the most ill-conceived ideas in history of histories. It's like, no, wait, the whole reason Die Hard works is because John McClane is a basic detective. He's never dealt with anything like this before. So if you do some prequel where he's dealt with a terrorist before, it kind of ruins the first movie.
Yeah.
And that was their whole plan, kids, in case you didn't know that. We were supposed to be getting a Die Hard prequel where it was about John McClane's first big adventure when he was younger, and we're going to recast John McClane as a young actor.
Oh, that's just so horrible.
But anyway, on the AVP thing, yeah. Anyway, sorry.
No, I just think they need to let Bruce Willis have peace in his life, and the only reason I would say yes to it is if they're just going to send him a big fat check for every single one of them, and I don't have to watch any of it.
It's kind of what they did for the last one.
Yeah.
Nobody watched it, and he just got a big check.
Well, back on the topic of AVP.
Yeah, AVP, to be fair, yeah.
Super chat there, you know, he said it in the big dollars.
I took it off somewhere else.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Culture, do you have anything to add here, bud?
No, I think that Prey was, even despite their best efforts to smudge it up, I think that it ended up being okay and somewhat successful. And we'll see if they're able to pull something else off. Do I expect them to? No. No.
There you go, Daniel, my dude. So we've got through a whole bunch of super chats. So we'll take a small break from them, but obviously you literally have a captive audience for your questions here, guys. And again, like I always say, this podcast, your favorite podcast, is funded by you guys for you guys. So send in the super chat, send in the super stickers, become a member, become a patron, all that good stuff. You have a captive audience. We will get to your question. We will designate time to it. We will, as we've just done here, get into the sort of meat of it all. But we're going to move on now. We're going to move on to a fantastic topic, which I think I know everyone can chip in on. I saved this for the second topic. Oh my God, the Godzilla -1 trailer dropped. Oh my God, I want to talk about it.
Yeah, I knew we were going to talk about it.
Oh no, they say he's got to go.
Godzilla.
Right. I want to hear everyone's thoughts. I'm going to go clockwise. So, Culture, what are your thoughts on the Godzilla -1 trailer?
Oh, it's beautiful. It's perfect. It's exactly what you need. And everything in there is that if you're trying to make this thing look real and be believable, they did it. I took clips that I thought were wonderful of just the monster in action. And literally, I mean, the scene where he's stepping down on people and vehicles.
You mean this scene where the physics are correctly applied, where he steps,
I know.
And then, sorry, what happens? Oh, the floor gives way, and then, shockwave. Oh, there's people floating in the air. Oh my God, there's people. Anyway, sorry, right. So what were you saying?
That's it. I mean, it's that. And then when he goes to take a bite out of the subway tray, I was like losing my stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm going to grab all these clips, and that's what we're going to use for the stinger today. So I was
I cannot believe this. Look at the people.
And the way they put the trailer together, right, gives you just enough to whet your appetite, but it doesn't spoil anything. It's so good. And the sound design was great in the trailer. It was well done.
Oh man. I love it. It's not American style CG, and I don't know what it is about it that it doesn't quite look right to me, but it still looks amazing and spectacular.
Well, it's important to note on this official trailer, they literally say that Takashi Yamazaki, the director, I think that's the right name off the top of my head, did the VFX, the script, and the direction for the whole thing.
Man, I just think about this corporate stuff that we've been dealing with over here. This art by committee.
This. It looks very real.
Oh, look at that.
None of this Marvel couldn't organize a shit in a toilet. Look at this.
I wonder how much they spent on that.
All right? They couldn't organize a piss up in a brewery, for goodness sake. All right? They're jokers. Look at this. What a stark image. When we talk about cinematography, right? This could be a poster. Every single frame of this trailer could be anyway, I digress. Keep going, Jonas. Sorry.
No, I just playing something like this in slow motion. Usually that's on the American side of things with the special effects. That's usually where it falls apart. It's where it looks dumb. And no, this actually looks better in slow motion, which is really saying something. I wonder if I like this more because obviously, I know some Japanese people. I don't think any of them are in this movie. I don't recognize any of the actors, so I'm completely transported. And I don't know anybody's weird politics. It's just pure entertainment, and that's awesome. Oh, that's beautiful. Or that shot of him. That's been done. Godzilla Under the Water has been done, but I've never seen it look so fantastic.
That's so great.
Yeah. Well, just straight from the off, like it's so visceral. Everything looks that there's no. Look, obviously it's a giant bloody monster, right? I get it. But there's no sense where you're looking at this. Tom's disappeared. Where you gone, Tom? There's no sense where this is sort of taking me out of it. Like, this is VFX, And I'm like, this isn't real. It all looks highly real to me. Again, I know it's not real. I'm aware. But does it just look absolutely fantastic? Like the physics of it works, everything works, the way the camera moves and the shockwaves. Like I said in my when I did the trailer reaction, was even just this stuff, right? So as you get into it, kind of got to show it in slow motion, but everyone's running around, and just the jerkiness and quickness of the camera it's not quick focus. You know, it's just it's got to move around, got to move around, got to move around, and even that alone is like hyper reality. It's like, oh my god, everyone's terrified. It perfectly encapsulates what would happen if this was actually happening in real life. I mean, look, you can barely see anything, but you get a real sense of what is going on. They've done a very good job of nailing that, I think.
How much do you think it cost for them to make this? Because I'm going to imagine
God,
it is
I've got
a
no
lot
idea.
less than American films.
But even this, look. Oh yeah, it's gonna be tiny by comparison. But look at the way the camera moves. Like they've just because there was one scene as well, specifically where the what was
Looks
it?
like about 150 million according to what I'm seeing here.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I can believe that. I think that's all right.
Man, this thing was shot full frame. I mean,
Was that you, Tom, or was that the trailer?
of course
playing?
it was me.
It's perfect. There's nothing like that sound.
Where was this shot? Goodness me!
Now I need the sound effect. Yeah.
Where he looks like he's like his skin's kind of coming off of him.
It's absolutely ripped apart. I mean, they've nailed this. Like, look at the embers as they glow and shift when he moves. Jeez. All right, Tom, we haven't heard from you, bud. What do you think of the trailer?
Oh fuck! I can't wait. I can't
I think
wait.
they've nailed it.
I mean, I'm such a Godzilla fan that I even got bootlegs because you can't get this one anywhere. I mean, yeah. No, I'm looking forward to this. Looks really good.
Looks so good. I was blown away. I'm like, wow, that looks great. I love big monster movie. I love kaiju. This could be a good time.
It looks like they're really bringing the horror back, and that's what they needed to do. They really have brought the horror back to Godzilla here.
Yeah, and you think you're gonna get a great people storyline here?
I think there will be a certain element. Like there's clearly an interpersonal story there, but the focus isn't that. Like it's very much the allegory of what Godzilla represents and what's going on. And it looks very clearly like you've got like a Serizawa type here. He's probably the Dr. Serizawa. Oh, I can't. There you go. Sorry. Dr. Serizawa here. This chap here is probably Dr. Serizawa. Like it looks like they're going to do an oxygen destroyer type situation, I reckon. Again here.
Like the original film.
Yeah, like I reckon so. And then there's the thought process as well. Like what's the meaning behind Godzilla -1? Because the director, or Toho anyway, said, and they even say in this trailer, you know, at the end of the World War II, Japan is back down to 0, and then Godzilla comes and renders them at -1. You know, an economic state of -1, a societal state of -1.
Yeah,
but I think there's something to be said that, you know, there's some interesting dialogue here where they say, where is it? You're a disgrace. And then they say, that monster is never going to forgive us. That monster, here you go. Right, here you go. I'm not showing you. There you go. That monster, fucking I'm a little bit drunk, guys. Will never forgive us. There you go. And so that as well, like, does that mean that there's 2 Godzillas? Because there was a rumor that there was two kaiju in this movie. Is one Godzilla's friend? Did they nuke him? And then that's -1, and that adds another sort of layer of melancholy,
or a mate, maybe
a precise, yeah, absolutely.
And not only that, like, yeah, like what she's saying here may also be referring to the fact that, you know, the whole thing is just retribution for the way they acted in the war.
Yeah.
And like at this point, like, yeah, the US, we could maybe forgive them over time, but there's no way Godzilla is going to forgive. You know, it's like a force of nature, is what she's saying. Yeah,
absolutely. So, I mean, I look at it from the perspective of, I think that there's something to be said that there's a more sort of melancholy, deeper, like a double meaning.
Oh, this feels like a very I don't maybe earnest is the term I'm looking for, but it's full of allegory and whatever, like the original film is, but it takes it even more seriously than the original film did. I mean, the first film, if you watch it, that original Godzilla, I mean, people forget through all the goofiness that came out of all the sequels, they think of Godzilla as kind of this, weird thing and whatever. Blah, blah. No, you go watch that original movie. It is dark. That first film is pretty dark. I mean, it's got a lot of killing and maiming, and the whole point of it is like, this is the uprising after the bomb. This is what happened. And now, Japan's being, punished again, basically, for the whole thing. Is kind of like,
Oh, yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, there you go. I personally cannot wait for this film. I hope it gets... I know it's getting a theatrical release in the States. I hope it gets a theatrical release in the UK. I think if Toho don't have that, it's not through lack of trying. I think it will be a case that they just couldn't secure distribution, because I think that they've been very smart and that they've allowed Legendary to raise the profile of Godzilla.
Well, it sounds like it's coming out in December, and they have to have it out in the US by December. That's the deal.
It's out in November in the Japan. And then it's
but I know I thought I heard it comes out in December here, so they are getting it out here. As long as they get it out this year, that's the only thing they got to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Any closing thoughts on that, guys?
Looking forward to it. I hope I get a chance to see it. I already have a hard enough time to see regular movies. Hopefully a theater in Madison gets that, I would hope. And,
I'll see this very, very early on. Oh, we have a new guest joining us.
Ooh.
There he is.
Surprise.
He asked me for the link.
Good morning.
Really bloody flow. Andre, do you want to talk about Godzilla -1?
Yeah, sure. Happy to talk about Equalizer afterwards, because I saw the third without having seen the first two. Godzilla -1. I think it looks fantastic. I'm actually really, really looking forward to it, and that is really rare, because I'm not a fan of kaiju movies.
Well, you guys might actually get a chance to see it before us, actually.
Yeah. So I respect the original Godzilla. I find all of the other Japanese Godzilla movies between the original and up until Shin Godzilla to be utterly unwatchable. I think the legendary there we go. I think the legendary Godzilla movies, or like the Monsterverse, it's just not for me. I think it's boring. I don't like the tone. Honestly, I prefer the Sony's 98 Godzilla to that. And then there's Shin Godzilla. I freaking love Shin Godzilla. Now that's a masterpiece. It's one of the best remakes there's ever been, because it does, there Tom's got it. I like that 98 movie better than the 2014 one from Legendary.
Oh, I got them all.
Yeah. But Shin Godzilla...
Unless it's not on disc, I don't have it,
Shin Godzilla, man, that's a masterpiece. One of the best remakes ever, because what it does is that it does exactly the same thing that the original Godzilla did, only it applies it to a different event. Whereas the original Godzilla was about the bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Plus, and this is as important, if not more, the Happy Dragon, or whatever that boat was called, that got nuked when they did like that test bombing, and that boat crew were like
a Lucky Dragon is what they call it in the Godzilla. I don't know what it was.
Okay, yeah. Something like that. Happy, Lucky. Anyway, it's a name that certainly was not reflective of reality. If anything, they were asking for trouble. But of course, you did get like a Happy Dragon in the guise of Godzilla to come from it. But basically, Shin Godzilla then is about Fukushima instead of that. And that is what is so brilliant. It's one of the best satires ever, because basically Godzilla is the parallel for Fukushima, and then you have all this emphasis on the Japanese government. Well, that's exactly what happened with Fukushima. The government were really, really slow to react. They were way too busy discussing which department is this under. And okay, we need to discuss this in a parliamentary meeting. Yeah. So we need to step over to this other room and have a meeting there. Oh, we now have figured out something else. Now we need to go to this room and have a meeting there.
It's all about making meetings. Yeah.
Yeah.
While the world is falling around them. Yeah.
Exactly, and finally, this is something they also did with Fukushima, which they also got the right in the movie. It's like when things got really serious, then they went into these blue overalls. And I don't quite know the significance, but apparently that is something that strikes fear into the heart of the Japanese, because when their leaders step into those blue overalls, that's when I know now the situation is well and truly fucked. And then all the imagery of all the driftwood and stuff like that came when Godzilla in his earlier forms was like walking through the streets of Tokyo and stuff like that. Again, that was just straight up images of Fukushima, so nailed it completely. And this movie up here now, I hope that it's going to tonally be something more like Shin Godzilla, because that movie made me a fan of Toho's Godzilla.
I think
that's what I mean. I like it. I like it. I saw that trailer and I like what I see in it, and it only goes to show me that the only ones who can do Godzilla and can do it right are the Japanese. They had the right idea in 1954, but technology wasn't there, and so they kept on trying and failing for the next half a century, and then they nailed it again with Shin Godzilla, and maybe now, as far as I'm concerned, this may be the third good Godzilla movie.
I think this will be one of the best, if not the best. I genuinely reckon so. I mean, the VFX alone, they're incredible. The physics, absolutely brilliant. Really, really good. But you wanted to give your thoughts on Equalizer 3? Be my guest. Let's go.
Yeah, sure. Because I just I was listening while I was out earlier, and I just heard that you spoke about, like, oh, it's interesting. That's a hallmark of a good movie if you can just go straight into part 3 and it grabs your attention.
I think so. Yeah.
And I will say that I actually think that it was a better experience because I hadn't seen parts 1 and 2. This movie is a really interesting standalone movie, and the way that it's the setup, the whole thing, it doesn't assume any kind of prior knowledge at all. Like, literally, the movie is kind of like designed as if you go in cold. You see, here's this kind of mystery guy. He never lets anyone know who he is or what he does. It's never explained in the movie. You kind of have to deduce it. And only towards the very, very end does he even let anyone know why he was there in that mob stronghold in the first place. It's kind of like, oh yeah, by the way, this is how the whole thing started. So even if you have seen the first 2 movies, you have no idea why he's there. You don't know any more than any outsiders. You may know more about who he is or what he does, but the movie doesn't require it for you to understand it, or quite the contrary. When he talks about, are you a good or a bad man? I would say it's an advantage if you haven't seen anything he has done before. The way that this movie was scripted, I submit it actually works better as a standalone movie than as a part 3. This is kind of like the I would say, like, this is Denzel's Unforgiven, where you have like Clint Eastwood, right, playing a Western movie at the end of his career, and it's a completely new character that we haven't seen before. Like, oh, you see him, and you kind of like imagine that he will have had some kind of like backstory that's similar to what we've seen in The Good, the Bad, and Ugly and stuff like that. You just kind of imagine that, but you don't know that. It's a new character that you see for the first time, who's kind of like this mystery in a sense, right? This is the exact same thing here.
Yeah.
This movie works perfectly better if you haven't seen the first 2. That's how good it is.
It's interesting to hear your thoughts. I'd be genuinely curious to hear what you think. Go back and watch the first one, because it's on Netflix in the UK.
Yeah,
I highly recommend you go back and watch the first one.
I will. For sure, like I've started like skimming them, but to me, so far, the third one, man, honestly, a masterpiece.
The first one genuinely is not something to skim. It's something to sit down there and honestly.
I know, that's what I figured. That's what I figured. Oh, I have to get back to this.
Very good film. Yeah, it massively holds up. I watched it the other day, and I was engrossed again. So. would recommend.
In Norway,
let's get
it is on Netflix in Norway, by the way. I looked that up for you there, Andre.
There you go.
Yeah,
there you go, Andre.
and also with Surfshark, which is a midnight search
good
box, so
point.
I can just go and switch through the different Netflixes till I find it.
There you go.
And if it's a none of them, there's other opportunities. So yeah.
Let's get on to some super chats because we've got a pretty massive amount of them coming through. So thank you so much, guys. And then we'll move on to another topic. Nice to have you on, Andre. Nice to have you
absolutely.
Here, buddy. So we've got Israel R for $20, a big contributor of the podcast. So thank you so much. Says, hello, Mr. H and panel. Thank you, Mr. H, for your Abagor and Engineers videos. For those that don't know, I kind of went back to my roots at the weekend, testing the waters, just kind of seeing. They're great and miss them. The terror of Godzilla is back in the trailer. The murderous intent in Godzilla's eyes and feet stomping can be felt. One, I'm glad you enjoyed the videos. There were a lot of work, hours, in fact, of work, hours of editing the voice as well, for starters. I didn't edit my voice, that's my voice, but editing the audio. But I'm glad you enjoyed them. Shame they didn't get a lot of views, is what it is. As for the terror in Godzilla, yeah, I mean, just to come straight back to you, Andre, did you notice the foot stomp in the trailer of Godzilla? And as it comes down, the asphalt comes up and the people start floating because obviously the impact and the sort of shockwave. Did you see that in the trailer?
That's understanding gravity. I mean, it seems
I know, but no other bloody trailer has yet.
Yeah. Yeah,
I like it.
I like it.
Oh, it's incredible.
I mean, they may not understand the square cube law, but they understand gravity, and I'll take that.
I like small wins. Small wins, I guess.
Can't get everything.
No. Well, thank you so much there, Israel. Larry Qualowitz has been a member for 25 months, and as a member of the channel, you do get a free monthly super chat. So thank you so much, my dude. Says, hello, Mr. H and panel. Curious about your opinions on Robin being in Brave and Bold and also Batman 2. Tom, can you do Ford turning down the role of Robin? Either one, your choice. Thanks, much love. Tom, you got to do this first.
All right, what am I playing? Robin the Boy Wonder? Not even Batman? Who the fuck do you think I am? I quit.
Well,
he wouldn't do that. He would be totally upset that you offered him Robin. Yeah. I don't know about the Battinson 2 either happening, but we'll see. We'll see.
Well, what do we think about the well, what are your thoughts there, Tom? Sorry, you said you don't know about the Battinson 2.
I this rumor is a rumor that's coming. Here's the thing. All of a sudden, there's finally talk about it after all this time, and it's while we're in the middle of a strike, and it's coming from a leaker.
Mm-hmm. Well, I will add, just real quick.
Now, the leaker does have a good track record. I will say that. No.
I will say I've independently verified this. As in, not the Robin casting, but I've independently verified they are casting. It is actually happening.
How can they cast in the middle of the fucking strike?
Because they're shooting in the UK, mate. They supersede the strike.
For Pete's sake.
There you go.
And I know that a lot of it is based in the UK right now. So I know that they're superseding it. So just as an FYI, I can confirm, not the Robin rumor, but this
is just more stupidity coming out of Warner Brothers. Because I'll tell you right now, if they want to continue to confuse the audience more, just keep doing this stupid shit. Here's the point you can clip out right here. The Batman, if it actually manages to come out, is going to be lucky to make $400 million.
Whoa! No, I don't know. Maybe.
Wait, so you said they're casting, but not Robin?
So
that was a rumor started by somebody else.
I can independently verify that they are 100% casting, so it is absolutely going ahead. I haven't managed to confirm if the Robin rumors are true.
As far as I know, the Robin thing was started by a troll. Okay, because he put a picture of young Marlon Wayans as Robin, and it's like they found their Robin or whatever. I think that's where it started. I could be wrong, but I don't see Matt Reeves doing a Robin in a year 2 Batman movie.
Yeah, neither do I, quite frankly.
And did that Penguin Max series ever see the light of day? Apparently, that
yes, that is coming. They had to cancel. They had to stop mid-shoot. They were towards the end of production. Actually, they had to stop because of the strikes. But they were towards the end of the production. It actually looks really good, like in terms of what we'd seen from leaked images.
I mean, I like Matt Reeves. I still haven't seen the Batman. I've had the 4K ever since it came out. I just haven't had the time. So I got a lot of faith in him as a director. To actually have a vision.
You might want to put that to side when you watch this thing.
Okay. All right.
Look, a lot of people like it. I'll say this, Jonas, but look, just be prepared.
All right, I really like it. So I'm gonna. I'll be the voice. I'll be the positive voice.
Well, you know, when we got to the end of Dark Knight Rises, I said to myself, we don't need to go any darker with Batman. Oh, no, of course, what is the next thing that comes out is an even darker Batman.
And at you've seen it all already. That's the other problem.
Well, yeah. And at some point, they need to acknowledge that, okay, if you're going to market this to kids, which they absolutely are, you don't need to have these guys with like weird blood spatter and goth makeup. You know, there's a difference between... I would be willing to bet they made a lot more money off the Batman and Robin, Joel Schumacher films as far as toys than they are off of the Batman.
I got tons of pictures of the Batman toys on clearance.
Yep.
Well, and that's one of the reasons why I'll be surprised if it happens. But all right, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nate.
No, it's the difference between marketing to children versus man children. So.
Well, I was just going to say on Larry's actual question, about the opinions on Robin being in Brave and Bold and also Batman 2. That's why I think the rumor is bogus, because of the duplication, the Robin being in both things and the sort of overshadowing potential. But any thoughts on that specifically, guys?
I think the Brave and the Bold is one of the dumber ideas I heard come out of the James Gunn.
I'll agree with you there.
Thing
Absolutely.
Because
first Batman movie, Brave and the Bold. Fuck off.
Well, not only that, he picks one of the least liked Robins, and Robin is kind of indicative of a problem I have with comic book characters, and that is I don't like redundant characters. I don't like somebody else picking up the mantle. If they have to age out, then you're doing something wrong, because these are comic books. You can literally just continue to make Robin 16 years old for the rest of his life.
Yeah, you don't have to age him out.
Exactly. Like South Park is still in the 4th grade.
Well, that's creative bankruptcy, isn't it? At the end of the day, if you can't figure out where to go with a character at a certain age, and you have to age them up to introduce a new character arc, that's your creative slump.
I don't need a Jason Todd. I don't need a Tim Drake. I don't need a Damian Wayne. I just need Dick Grayson, and that's it. Now somebody's going to clip that out where I just say, I just need Dick. So there, I just made it easier for you.
Well, there you go. You just asked for it now. I mean, I'm going to do it personally, actually. So, in fact, Culture, can you get on with that right now, please? Thanks very much. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Right, let's move on. Big Al Games for £5. So, speaking of Dino DNA, saw the original Jurassic Park in cinemas last Sunday. Theatre was packed and nobody was noisy or annoying. Still a 10 out of 10 film. Mate, Jurassic Park absolutely holds up. That film is staggeringly good. And you know why? Because it's a blend.
You know what would make it better now, though?
And practical.
Morgan Freeman.
If Morgan Freeman did that voiceover bit. Because now that I've heard Bingo Dino DNA,
yeah,
I want that whole thing.
Oh my god!
I'll go look at I'll look up the full quote and I'll send it to you.
And then I'll have to cut it to the movie.
Right, we're deteriorating.
Right. No, this is great. This is gold.
Oh yeah, okay. I mean that is. Yeah. It is.
Actually, I'd rather save Morgan for a good point, like to really punch it home. But like, yeah.
Larry Quadowitz for $2 says, and that wasn't a grammatical error. Tom is choice. Hey, what was that about?
Rhymes with noise.
Oh yeah, you are choice. Yeah, okay. No, sorry, my brain went a bit spazzy there. Lord Toron for $5 says, speaking of Alien, why can't we get a movie or TV show based off some of the novels like River of Pain or Out of the Shadows? We actually can. So an important thing to note, which was revealed recently in the last year or so in podcasts and interviews, out of the old creative heads at 20th Century Fox, when they were discussing the AVP anime, was that they stated categorically and specifically something which I didn't know and is very interesting. 20th Century Fox owns all of the story IPs for Dark Horse Comics. They own everything. That's their stories. Dark Horse essentially just created it and distributed it and took a portion of the pay. they paid for a merchandising licensing.
So they paid out
contract.
all the authors, is what you're saying?
Honestly, apparently 20th Century Fox has the rights to all of that.
Well, that's what it would mean to me, is like they paid off all the authors or however they did their work. It was,
I don't know how their contracts aligned, but part of it was they own it all. So you are right, actually, when you're saying, why can't we? We can. But why won't we? Because Disney, I guess.
Because Disney is creatively bankrupt.
Yeah.
Even if they owed royalties to those authors, they wouldn't be paying them right now because that's
there's
Alec Dean Foster, isn't it?
comic books or books we can use for Alien. I mean,
so that's the Lucasfilm argument, isn't it? Well, there's no law.
I'm sure they would
die from.
Yeah, there's no source material, were her exact words.
Fuck's sake!
There's no books. There's no comics. There's just no source material. You have to invent everything.
Dash Attack VTuber says for $2 says Godzilla and Kaiju fans eating good. We are,
love it,
because we've got -1, and then we've got Monarch series and the new Godzilla X Kong, the new
and the MonsterVerse and the Apple series and everything else. Yeah, I mean, there's never been a point in history where I think there's been more Godzilla than there is
Such
now.
a short space of time. No, you're right.
Maybe the only time would have been when somewhere around the 3rd, 4th, 5th film, and they started bringing in like the animated series and such. Maybe then at that point you could say, yeah, that's probably the most Godzilla you had at once prior to this.
Yeah.
Because even when they made the 98 film, they had to wait. I think it was it 5 years? I think Toho at that time had to wait. I think it was because they were planning on making a trilogy. That was the whole problem. Yeah.
And then they made a film to
Final Wars and Godzilla.
Their hatred of the 98.
Mr. H, how much do you know about Clive Barker's Godzilla? Because before they made the 1998,
I'd heard a little bit about
Clive Barker. He was at one point
I didn't know that.
He was at one point to develop the American Godzilla reboot.
Why didn't you add that to our documentary?
Andre.
Now we got to do a director's cut for one bit.
Yeah, I know. but hey, well,
you can add the other movies since
then.
Yeah. That was one that I actually had to write because, as Andre said before, like he's not a big Godzilla fan, so he just rewrote it, and a lot of it came from my historical shit. And another guy who wrote it, and I had to rewrite that too. So it's like that thing was a monster, literally, to put together, and it's one of our longest mini documentaries too. I think
it is. No, I know exactly what happened. I was like so concerned with. I was like thinking, okay, the last thing I must do now is to forget to include this Clive Barker thing, and then I got so preoccupied trying to tie together and make the rest of the narration and writing flow that the last thing I did was to forget about the Clive Barker thing. But anyway, Nate,
in the same way that J.J. Abrams forgot to put in that Finn is Force sensitive.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would assume he would have been in there before Stan Winston and whoever else was involved with that version, is what you're saying?
Oh, that I don't recall.
Or was it after him?
I don't.
So it was still with the TriStar situation.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
It was basically what would turn into the Roland Emmerich film.
Yeah.
But there wasn't much really known about it. There's not a lot out there about it. It's just that they sort of reneged on it because it was considered to be too dark. So I think TriStar commissioned a script, like a spec script, and because it's not floating around, I'd imagine it is literally owned by them for them. So they commissioned a script. There's different rights to do a script,
right?
Like if Clive Barker had written the script, it would be out there. As in, he just made it off his own accord. It would be out there for everyone to see. But I think it's a spec script. They literally commissioned a script of Clive Barker, and they were like, no, too dark. No. And then they sort of reneged on it. There's not a lot known about it, to be fair, unless Andre can add a little bit more.
I would have to go and look at my own notes, see if I can retrieve a script or something. I don't think I can, but I've been able to find some pretty amazing scripts in the past.
Yeah, well, yeah, true, very, very true. Let's shuffle on now. So we got another comment from Israel R. Just real quick, says for $5 says the already brokenness of the people just adds to the terror. Tom versus Jonas for best Godzilla trailer voice. Fantastic.
Oh, what is a Godzilla trailer voice? You know what's awesome to me is hearing Japanese people say Gojira. Oh, I just love it. It used to be goofy to me, but now it's like, oh, that's awesome.
That's one of the best parts.
So
that's one of the best parts of the remake is when they got what's his face going, let them fight. I mean, it's been memed to death.
So good. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
Right now, I love those movies too. So yeah. Anyway.
Just real quick, Jonas, I'm aware you need to duck out now, my dude.
Yeah, I wish I didn't have to. This is
awesome. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having me. Always a pleasure.
Jonas, you're missing out on the next stinger.
Oh man, yeah. I know what the topics are coming up too, so I hate that I have to miss it. I got way too many kids over here, and I got to get them prepped for the next school day over here. So,
yeah, school time back again. Yeah,
that's right. I work with WDW Pro over on his channel and Valiant Renegade on his. They have live shows, and I'm on them. Next week, we're launching the That Park Place channel, which is going to be like 5 news stories a day in very quick succession, and a teeny bit of commentary. You know, for those who don't want the 50 minutes on why they've missed the mark on Star Wars, you can just hear all the things that you need to know real quick right there at the start of your day. That's what we'll be doing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and if you want to reach me personally, I love to mix it up on Twitter. I will continue to call it Twitter until I am legally prohibited from doing it. Thanks for having me on, guys. I love each and every one of you. I am no homo. Have a good day.
Thanks very much. Peace out, dude. Nice to have you on. Oh, dear. Nice to have him on. Fantastic stuff. So, yes, we will shuffle on now to our next topic. And boy, howdy, it's a fun one.
It's a must-see, baby.
So, the Marvels. Look, deadline already shilling for this absolute total wank.
The marbles.
The marbles. Yeah, I'm losing my fucking
They lost their marbles. Yeah.
Talking about this shit. Apparently, it's the most want to see in Fandango full poll. I mean, what are they? I mean, who's this? Is
that's because everything got moved to next freaking year.
No, this looks like Eminem. No, this looks like Eminem and goddamn Rachel Zegler. What are they doing in a film?
That's that Hunger Games crap.
Oh, whatever. Oh, it's Rachel Zegler.
That is Rachel Zegler, but I think that is that dude who was in the Lord of the Rings thing too, or is that somebody? I don't know who that is.
I don't know. It looks like Eminem. Anyway,
it looks like a pretty boy, yeah.
It looks like Tom. Oh, it looks like a pretty boy.
Yeah, he is.
Well, apparently, look,
that shit.
Online movie ticket retailer Fandango, who the CEO of Fandango, or one of their chief executives, the heads of whatever, was associated with Disney anyway. Movie ticket retailer Fandango dropped their most anticipated fall and horror movie survey this AM with Disney's The Marvels and Lionsgate, The Hunger Games, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Funnily enough, 2 movies intricately associated with Disney. One, obviously, The Marvels, and The Hunger Games is the movie featuring the lead star of Snow White, which is the only movie coming out prior to Snow White. Conspicuously, both of them are leading the list. I spell absolute bollocks on that. Both respectively hit cinemas on November 10th and 17th, with June Part 2 out on November 4th. No, that's next year now. What? Did Deadline get this wrong?
There you see the level of accuracy and journalism that goes into this article.
It's delayed till March, isn't it? If I remember rightly off the top of my head.
It is.
I'm bloody half drunk, and I can remember.
What did I just say? That's because everything got delayed. That's the only reason.
Okay, now. If I'm half drunk and I can remember.
When was this published? When was this published?
Today.
Then it's unforgivable.
That is awful, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, so there you go. Oh, that's so bad. Anyway, so most anticipated, The Marvels, The Hunger Games, Equalizer 3. So I thought we'd talk about this because this comes a week after, almost a week after, I'm pretty certain anyway, a week after Ms. Marvel bombed on ABC and got horrendous figures. In fact, less viewing figures or numbers than the likes of reruns of Shark Tank, right? Awful viewing figures. So this, to me, screams Disney putting some money behind Deadline and going, write a good piece. Fandango, do a good piece. Write this, do that. Trying to get some buzz. And I just want to put it out there as a more sort of topical discussion piece. What do we think? Because this is what they did with the first one, Captain Marvel. This, to me, says it's exactly the same thing. And maybe we will get some inflated ticket prices or ticket sales as well. Andre, I know you've probably got a lot to add to this.
Well, yeah, I'm curious at how they were able to arrive at that. I mean, part of it is obviously that, as Tom said, everything else is pushed back. I mean, I don't know what the updated release calendar of the year looks like, but you know what I think is a fair chance may have happened? And that is that once like the movies like Dune Part 2 and whatever else moved, then suddenly these here win by default because there's nothing else coming out in that particular time frame. So then it's going to depend. Like, yeah, maybe they are the most anticipated releases in that time frame now because they're, for all intents and purposes, the only thing that's releasing in this time frame. I can only imagine that that is the spin on it because I don't recall anything else that comes out of any kind of interest in that time span. Like all the other interesting movies the rest of the year are coming in the next few weeks. I mean, The Nun Part 2 is coming out relatively soon. You have like that Murder in Venice or whatever that third Poirot movie is called. I didn't even know it was a Poirot movie until Tom pointed out to me. That's coming out now here right around the corner. And then for the rest of the year, what else is there?
Well, yeah, not much, to be fair.
Exactly. There you go. Yeah. So it could very well be that this is a case of these genuinely are the most anticipated movies for the rest of the year. But that's not saying much. In a race of two, if these two are the favorites to win, yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Well, it's just coincidental. I mean, you're completely right with sort of dissemination of the information, but I think that as well it's quite telling that these are the two sort of favorites, and they are two intricately linked Disney products. You know, one is a direct Disney product, and the other is the only movie coming out before which could either shoot Rachel Zegler to stardom and thus boost Snow White's box office potential, or be a massive bomb and thus tank Snow White's box office potential on top of what she's already done herself with her nonsense commentary, which I think is absolutely hilarious. Because it's literally the two top ones is the Marvels and the Hunger Games. The top two are those. Coincidence? I think not.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's a coincidence. Yeah, but yeah, carry on, Tom. Sorry.
No. What was the question again? Necessary before the. Is it true that Marvel's?
No real question, mate. It's the topic.
Oh,
fuck's sake!
I got distracted. I'm sorry.
Okay, so let me put it this way: they're getting their information from Parrot Analytics.
Oh no!
Yeah, I said this thing was bullshit from the start.
That's the only way that you would come up with this because that's the hatred stuff. I'm drawing a conclusion from informed facts that they've all now they've all now partnered with Parrot Analytics. So how best to get your narrative and message out there than to look at what Parrot Analytics says is going to be the most popular. Well, they have their way of tracking trends. It doesn't matter if it's positive commentary or negative commentary. We're all talking about the Marvels. Here we are. Hi, we're talking about the Marvels also, but not in a good way. And what they don't understand is now, the saying, all publicity is good publicity isn't true anymore. People don't trust anything coming out of anywhere at all. So I'm telling you, that's the only conclusion I can draw. And I think Andre is also right to a certain extent. What else are you going to look forward to? There's nada out there. And those two films are actually competing with each other. I think they're released within a week of each other. Is that right?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally a week of one another. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm looking at those numbers going, nobody's going to see either of these things. And the people that are going to go see them are going to be the same audience. So, they are going to perform almost, dead on the same numbers. I wouldn't expect one to exceed the other at this point.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are my thoughts on it.
No, I think you're right. I think you're completely right. Massively so, in fact. Right. Well, let's shuffle on. So we've got 531 people watching your favorite podcast, ladies and gents. Hit that thumbs up button on your way in here, guys. Let's take some more super chats. So this show is funded by you guys for you guys. So please do consider supporting, chucking a buck via super chat, super stickers, become a member, become a patron, all that good stuff. All helps a lot. So we got one from Larry Quartwitz for $2. Says, Andre, did Threequalizer make you want to see 1 and 2?
Yes and no. Yes, in that I'm curious to see what happened before. No, in that I thought it was such an amazing standalone movie that I kind of want to preserve it as a standalone movie.
Interesting. Mate, you have to watch the first one.
I know, and especially since it's actually has Equalizer Part 3 in the title, and I know that it's the same dude who wrote all 3 of them.
First one is so good.
He just so killed it. So yeah, I look forward to seeing all of them now. But I was just mesmerized because I was thinking of it with every movie, kind of thinking, well, it could have been better if this or if that, and I can't do that here. The movie was absolutely perfect. I can't think of a single thing that would have made it better.
And wasn't it good to watch it in theaters as well?
Yes, very.
Yeah, to me, it felt like a film that shouldn't be shown in theaters, or wouldn't be shown in theaters, unlikely to be shown in theaters. Felt like a movie that would be on just like the TV at this, in this day.
And you'd lose so much that way because when it's on TV, certainly with me, I can never watch anything in TV in peace.
Yeah,
it's going to be a million distractions coming from everywhere, right? Whereas in the movie theater, I can actually watch it and immerse myself in it. It's the only place I can. And I wouldn't have enjoyed it so much if I had seen it anywhere else, I think.
Yeah, agree with that. Just as an FYI, guys, you've probably seen the light flash on my face. We are demonetized. So that's why I say this podcast is funded by you guys for you guys. Not overly sure why, but we're demonetized, as always. So chucking a buck. Pilgrim Media for $2 says, Andre, your interview with Mr. Hancock was great. What's this?
Oh, thank you. We earlier today, I'm sure you didn't know because it's being suppressed to high heavens.
Mate, fucking YouTube is really...
But we released our interview with Graham Hancock a couple of hours ago. And YouTube evidently did not take kindly to it because he's a very popular and a very controversial figure. And so far, at least, the suppression seems to have worked because the video only has a few thousands of views so far. Of course, everyone who's seen it are blown away by the interview. So if you haven't seen it yet, be aware that we have an interview with Graham Hancock now up. So after this stream, go check it out and help share it to counter the algorithmic suppression. And we can see the algorithmic suppression, but rarely have I seen it as well as with this interview. And we can see it in the analytics behind the scenes that they're really trying to curb this one.
Well, I think YouTube's fucking channels across the board, excuse my language, they're destroying channels across the board at the moment. The entirety of August was bad. I spoke to Yellow Flash, I spoke to Valiant, I spoke to loads of people, contemporaries basically, and everyone's they're really being hit hard. So I don't know what they've done, but guys, when I say that super chats go a long way, they really do. YouTube is playing silly buggers quite a lot, probably a 50 to 75% reduction in views, and that goes to 50 to 75% reduction in income. It's quite a lot. It's not a small amount. So support your favorite YouTubers, guys. Anyway, the big nose for $2 is R.I.P. Steve Harwell, singer from Smash Mouth. I am not familiar with Smash Mouth, so
Really?
yeah, honestly, not at all. What genre of music is that?
They were never big in Europe.
Well, they do like it's kind of a ska rock kind of, or whatever you call it, a little reggae mix to it. But you've heard their music if you've seen like they're in tons of movies. They're kind of like
okay.
They in Shrek is their main one that you've heard a lot of. They did the song All Star and stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. Just not by name.
Early 2000s American happy punkish rock.
Yeah, with a reggae twist.
Ska, reggae slash ska. That makes sense. To Big Nose again for $5 says no need for source material, guys. Come on. Godzilla can be gay. Also, Robin can be black and have a story of diversity and overcome the white power. You've convinced me. The Big Nose.
Well, it sounds like you'd love the Batman.
Oh, fuck you.
I don't know why they just didn't call it BLM Man. That's really what it is. I mean,
oh my god. Yeah. I like the Batman. I'm not gonna say
it looks cool in like that respect, but like
they could also call it Bidenomics, the movie.
Bidenomics.
Yeah, exactly.
These are the Bidenomics.
Yeah, it's all about the.
It was originally in Mystery Men. Chris is correct about All Star being in Mystery Men first. That is true.
Larry Quader at $5 says, "Is it true that the Marvels leads into Kang Dynasty? If so, it makes sense since Captain Marvel went into Infinity War.
It was supposed to, but didn't they just dump the writers, Andre?
They did dump the writer for both Kang Dynasty and for Secret Wars. What we don't know is how big a retooling they will do. Are they still doing those movies but with different writers? Are they still keeping the same director? Because it's not going to help, because the directors of those movies are also nincompoops who can't do these movies. Now, really, you know who's supposed to attach them? It's a dude who directed Shang-Chi. He's doing one of them. And the other, Ryan Coogler is attached to the other. I don't recall right now.
Yeah, I think so. You are right. So I don't know if it is supposed to lead straight into Kang Dynasty though, because they changed.
That would surprise me. Yeah, because remember that
if that's supposed to lead into Kang Dynasty, you're like a year off from Kang Dynasty now. Then that won't release until 2025 or
more. I mean, it wasn't supposed to be released until 2025. We're probably looking at 2026.
No, so Larry, that's definitely not right then, because haven't we got the Thunderbolts as well? That's supposed to go into Kang Dynasty. That's supposed to come out in the interim between the Marvels and Kang Dynasty, isn't it? So,
but also you can never really tell, because one is a matter of when is it released, and the other is what does it lead into. And probably the Marvels was never like, oh, this is the direct lead into Kang Dynasty, so much as, well, this is a sidetrack that you kind of like need to have seen prior to Kang Dynasty, but it's not the direct lead in. I would imagine that probably Ant-Man Quantumania is the most direct lead in we're going to get. That and Loki season 2. I would imagine there's not going to be any more lead-ins before that. But Culture, do you have I
have a question, because you're speaking to it. Are we going to get King Dynasty? Because I
hope not.
Is it even being made? Not at the moment. No.
That's kind of like what I'm hoping. That's because, like, for instance, if Marvel just decided, no, we're still doing Kang Dynasty but with a different writer, it's still going to fail. They have to scrap the entire movie and go in a different direction. They have to see that Kang isn't working. Forget about Major's legal problem. His entire hype was media built and media created from day one. I do not see any audiences talk about, wow, did you see that performance? Did you see that guy? The same way they did Thanos. Thanos was something completely different. Yeah, fine. He was like just sitting in a chair. But the moment when he showed up, boy, did you believe him, right? We have already seen Kang in action. The dude is a freaking clown.
Yeah. No, you're completely right. Completely right. Right, ladies and gents, we've got some fascinating news to sort of move on to. No stinger for this one. Soz, you can blame culture though. But don't put your hands up, culture. All right, everyone. Boo, culture. Boo. Boo.
Yeah. It's a walk of shame for you.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. You didn't give it to me in time.
Oh, fuck off.
What are we doing?
Gave it to you well early today.
What are we talking about?
Wait, you put it in the private chat.
Taylor Swift. We're talking about Taylor Swift. Where's my
shake it off,
Swiftie?
guys. Just shake it off.
Oh, God. Look what you made me do.
I'm hurt.
Anyway,
we are never, ever getting back together.
Right, look, Taylor Swift, the Eras Tour, will likely beat every 2023 superhero movie with a huge $150+ million opening. That is just America as well.
Never underestimate the power of 12-year-old girls. That's all I'm going to say.
So I thought this is funny to sort of delve into because Taylor Swift has taken home all the money for this. No studio involvement, nothing. Takes home basically the majority of the cash flow. No studio at the end. Studios are pissed about this as well. But it's fascinating stuff. It really is. And this is just North America. Like it's just in the States. Now, this won't have like huge legs to smash out, superhero movies in terms of, Spider-Man No Way Home and stuff like that, even though it's done better on opening weekend in terms of pre-sales, right? It has. But it's fascinating stuff. Like it's crazy. What do we think about this? I'm sure you all know. I don't want to sort of go into it, but what do you guys think?
I think this was inevitable, and I think it clearly illustrates exactly how empty the theaters can be when you don't have good quality material to compete. I think this will be a clarifying moment for a lot of these movie studios because again, you have a concert film that is going to knock all of these things off their little pillars easily.
Yeah. I think I mean, look at these numbers. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, $104 million. Shazam! Fury of the Gods, $30.5 million. Guardians of the Galaxy, 118. Across the Spider-Verse, 120. The Flash, 55. Blue Beetle, 25. And this is going to come in and smash out $150 million. It's looking like. That's madness. In fact, that'll be on par with Barbie, $155 million, and Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah, but see, I think it's going to be even bigger than that.
Do you really? I don't know if I believe that.
But... Well, so how this Taylor Swift in this most recent batch of tours that she's done reportedly has made ungodly sums of money for somebody.
Yeah.
And when you're looking
for herself, she owns all. She owns it all now. She works for herself, doesn't she? She got better contract details. Or something
she's like the J.K. Rowling or Oprah Winfrey of her particular area, and so
I've compared it to like the Jacksons back in the day.
Yeah, indeed, yeah.
Yes. And good comparison. That actually, really good comparison.
And so, in looking at it, I mean, I remember how huge U2's concert film was. Rattle and hum. And I remember that this is something that people who couldn't get tickets to see Tay-Tay, right? Or these crazy Swifties out there. You didn't get a chance to see her. Sorry, I did do one.
You couldn't get a chance to see Tay-Tay's TTs.
All I'm saying is you didn't get to see Tay-Tay's. You didn't see Tay-Tay. And so
no wonder we get too monetized, guys. Yeah,
that's actually a nickname for her. Well, and then her fans are the Swifties, right? So anyway, okay. I have a feeling everybody who couldn't get a ticket, and even the ones that did, are gonna go give her more money.
Yeah. They might watch it on repeat, right? These are just the pre-sales tickets.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. Actually, to be fair, people just rock up on the day as well. That's crazy. Absolute madness.
How many screens is it getting?
I don't know.
I don't
That's
know.
the
It's
thing.
literally just not. It's just America, though.
And it's such a
just
big,
America.
and it's such a big deal that they pushed back the Exorcist, or pushed the Exorcist up a week.
Yes. Yeah. Literally, the Exorcist moved out the way.
It scared the Exorcist.
Scared Pazuzu.
It scared Pazuzu. Pazuzu's like, I ain't fucking with that bitch.
Pazuzu probably has more reasons to be afraid.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Shit.
right. Yeah.
He instead of seeing her in hell, she'll run hell. Taylor Swift will. No. As I said, don't underestimate the power of 12-year-olds. Like I said, the last time I remember any chaos like this around a concert and all this other business is when they had all the fiasco when the Jacksons went on world tour right after Thriller came out, and nobody could get their hands on tickets, and they had all these problems, and it was a big deal. I remember that was going on with the Ticketmaster thing. And I don't remember them doing a concert film, but if they had done one at the same time, I could see that happening here too, with this, the theaters being, inundated with this shit. And it's the same kind of people that were going to coming out for Barbie too. So you got to keep that in mind. So this is a similar crowd here.
Yeah, you're right.
Taylor Swift has an endless number of 12-year-olds every year that she ropes into her little thing. And I don't get it. That's the thing. It's not like, she's like Madonna. I understood back in the day. Madonna was doing things that were, provocative and whatever. Same thing with Michael Jackson and his, he was the whole package with being able to dance and sing and all that business. I look at Taylor Swift and I'm like, she's not overly sexy. At best, she's like the girl next door, if that. As far as her singing and her songwriting ability and all that, yeah, she can write a hook, but she ain't got shit on nobody like Prince or anybody else like that. So I'm like, what is the deal with her? Like, even Shania Twain has better songs. Like, I'm trying to figure this thing out. It's got to be something in the water.
Tom, I can answer it for you.
That impressed
I can
me
answer
much.
for you easily. You know what that is? All of those people that you mentioned, they're old people from long ago.
Oh, yes, I get it, Andre. The biggest part is, A, she's safe, so parents are okay with her. Like, she's a lot like what Miley Cyrus was back when
I mean that she's the only one that is right now. There's no one else like her.
No, I get it. I totally get that part of it. But outside of that, the phenomenon beyond, because it has to be bigger than just that, right? It can't be just that. Michael Jackson, the Jackson 5 weren't a huge phenomenon just because, 12, 13, 14-year-old girls and boys were into the no, it's because it was everybody listened to them, right?
Yeah, you are right.
But Garth Brooks is another artist I could relate to the same way. Like, everybody, like, that was the thing they realized the first time they tracked records for the first time digitally was, oh shit, all these records that they were lying about and shit. And then they find out Garth Brooks has got the biggest selling album right now because of that. It's like, what the hell is going on?
So I'd like to posit a theory for you then, Tom, as to why she's as popular as she is, right? Because it's not just 12-year-olds, right? Like, she sings and resonates with 30-year-olds, things like that. She resonates with the modern female approach to dating,
which is a real problem.
Exactly, which is why she's as popular as she is, because she sings solely about her failed relationships, which she just has flings with men left, right, and center. So that's why she's popular, because she's tapped into the market of disillusioned women. That's what it is.
Well, I mean, this particular film is 2 hours and 45 minutes long.
And also, just real quick, she is all right. I'd wet my whistle on it. Keep going, culture.
Stunned silence. Okay, so 2 hours and 45 minutes this film runs, and AMC is committed to showing it at least 4 times per day.
What is that?
You ever heard of this thing?
Oh,
this is
yeah.
Hilarious. Okay, so this is an obsessed fan who sued Taylor Swift, and he wrote a book about it, and it's titled, I shit you not, it's deadly serious, this guy is, Why I Sued Taylor Swift, and How I Became Falsely Known as a Frivolous, Litigious, and Crazy.
What the fuck?
It's a real book.
It is not. This guy supposedly thought that Taylor Swift would go out on a date with him, and he wrote a song for her, and he is. I'm not trying to make fun of the guy, but I am.
Wow.
Because he is completely
unaware. What on earth is a comic?
Yes, it even opens with a comic of how his heart was shattered.
About this.
Somebody brought it to my attention, and then I went and read the reviews. And this idiot went in the reviews and goes, "I can't delete reviews because Amazon won't let me." Because he's just been, taken to task, and it's just I'm like, okay, so people are obsessed with this individual. Why I don't get it, but okay. So to Andre's point,
they are. You don't have to get it. That's just how it is, whether we get it or not.
I still reckon I know why. She just sings the disillusioned women.
I think you're right.
Disaffected women.
I think you're
also there's no one else to capture the market of disillusioned young women and stuff. There's no one else right now. So she just has to have the right thing at the right time. Like all of those names that you mentioned, Tom, they're in the past.
Yeah.
Oh, real quick, though, just to finish up, 4 showings a day minimum in AMC theaters. It's going to go up in IMAX theaters. The guy that runs IMAX North America has been talking about it for a while. So you're going to see a minimum of 4 times a day in multiple theaters in AMC and maybe other locations as well. AMC's collecting a distributor fee here of 5 to 6% on top of what they're going to take at the box office.
Oh, they're loving it.
They're feeling good. So this thing's going to be bonkers. It's going to do better than I think any of us expect.
Well, and you made a great point, Nate, that I didn't even realize, and that was that she's self-distributing this. And if AMC's got to deal with her, then this is exactly the kind of thing the theaters need right now to go, all right, guess what, motherfuckers? We don't need you. We can do shit like this all day long. This is showing Hollywood, guess what? Get your shit in the bag. Because if we can do literally a fucking concert video of Taylor Swift and whoop your asses, then what the fuck is your excuse? And that is what they need to be saying. This is the kind of shit that we should be getting excited for as far as like the next Avengers movie or whatever, not Taylor fucking Swift.
No, you are completely right. I mean, so it always amazes me. In the UK, we've had a massive hit with theatres. So the local empire shut down where I am, went into bankruptcy administration. Cineworld, which also owns what's the cinema chain in the States that begins with an R, owns them basically.
Regal
owns them, yeah. So they've gone into administration in the UK. All these companies go into administration in the UK, and yet you can literally branch out and they don't. Show old films, bank all the money. Show concerts like this, bank all the money. Like, what is wrong with you? They just don't do it. It's so crazy. They feel like they are beholden to the studios, and it is infuriating.
Well, and I mean, I understand that perspective. I mean, they've been relying on them for so long, but here's the thing. Right now, Aerosmith just kicked off their farewell tour in Philadelphia. They should be doing the same thing. They should be. The Rolling Stones are releasing their first studio album in 18 years. They should be doing this on that tour. I mean, it's pretty
they
evident.
Might now.
Yeah, it's pretty evident to me. You know, that you want to collect an extra $75-100 million. Let's make a concert.
And here's the thing. The concert movie is nothing new, right? No. I don't remember who the highest grossing music concert, probably U2 Rattle and Hum, Culture Rich brought up earlier. That's probably the highest grossing. And that was back in 87. And the highest grossing comedy concert video is Eddie Murphy still, I think, with Raw. That was back in 87. Those are the only two reasons those are probably highest grossing, is because I think they were the only ones that got general release instead of just being limited release. Because any other time when Martin Lawrence or anybody else or any of these other musicians would do these concerts, they get stuck on these limited release deals. And that's the thing. So if the theaters can work out deals with these musicians, I can see the studios going, well, wait, we're missing out on this money. Yeah, because you guys tried to stifle this crap for years. You wouldn't allow it through. You didn't want to allow it through, because that to you was like, oh, this is not us. This is just them filming a concert, you know?
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely agree. Let's shuffle on now to another topic. I don't want to sort of linger too much on this. But all fantastic comments, left, right, and center. We'll get to this topic and then we'll get to super chats. So
actually, somebody reminded me that Justin Bieber movie. That's probably the highest grossing one now over the.
That was pretty big. It's surprising you forgot it though. It shows the cultural impact, right? That's the.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking that I was trying to think about how much that Michael Jackson one made too, right after. He died.
those are actually 1 and 2. Bieber at just about $100 million global.
Yeah.
And that was $99 million global. But here's the thing: if you're looking at global gross, it's still Michael Jackson at $261 million.
See, there you go. I forgot. I guess you count that as a concert film, even though you technically don't see a concert throughout the whole film. It's him before the concert and then dying. But yeah.
Wow. Well, now we will shuffle on to another topic. But like I said, guys, send in your super chats. You've got a captive panel audience here that will take all of your comments and questions. We'll get to them after the next question. The next topic, sorry. It goes a long way. It helps out the channel quite a lot. But here we have it. Yeah, that is right. Warner Brothers says it will take a hit of $300 to $500 million. In fact, they have adjusted their sort of profit potential, what they think their earning potential.
What about Barbie?
Well, this is the thing. So in an official regulatory filing earlier today, Warner Brothers Discovery announced that it has lowered its 2023 adjusted earnings forecast to $10.5 billion from $11 billion, which means the studio would take a hit of $300 to $500 million. They say it's predominantly due to the impact of the strikes. Hilarious, considering they were loud-mouthing their $100 million saving. Now, the really interesting thing here is the turnaround from CFO Gunnar Wiedensfels. So he said, uncertainty in the studio segments has increased with the dual strikes. This may have implications. This is old, by the way. He's got a new statement. This may have implications for the timing and performance of the remainder of the film slate, as well as our ability to produce and deliver content. And while we are hoping for a fast resolution, our modeling assumes a return to work date in early September. Should the strikes run through the end of the year, I would expect several $100 million of incremental upside to our free cash flow guidance and some incremental downside for adjusted EBITDA. Today's commentary, not so bright. While Warner Brothers Discovery is hopeful that these strikes will be resolved soon, it cannot predict when the strikes will ultimately end. With both guilds still on strike today, the company now assumes the financial impact of Warner Brothers Discovery of these strikes will persist through the end of 2023. And they've already started moving stuff as a result of it as well. So this, to me, is twofold, right? This is, to me, them hiding behind the strikes as their reasoning for lower cash flow. But actually what it is their garbage superhero movies being a monumental failure. One specifically.
And I'll tell you which one cost about this much money and didn't make a dime.
Well, that would be The Flash.
The Flash.
Yeah,
I guarantee you a big chunk of that money is The Flash.
Wow. No, you are completely right. And exactly the same train of thought I had is that they and so note the timing of when they've done this. They've done it early September. They're going to have another earnings call soon into another quarter of the year. So they've adjusted their earning potential, their projected forecast, so they can sort of marry up and go, oh, well, actually, we did all right. Or, oh, actually, we've just come under the expectations. That's what it is.
Well, and I want to count down from here to where, because we just found out that the Avengers Endgame, as we've been learning with all of these movies, are costing a hell of a lot more than they're reporting. Because as we keep telling people, all they're reporting is the initial budgets. Mm-hmm. They're not reporting what these movies actually cost. And I'll tell you right now, if Star Wars Force Awakens and all the Avenger and MCU films cost $100 to $200 million more than what they tell you, from what I was told by several inside sources at Warner Brothers, this is not only the most expensive movie that Warner Brothers ever made, it's the most expensive movie ever made. More than what they spent on Avatar 2.
That's amazing.
Which was in the $400 some million range.
Insane.
Well, and I mean, look at it from that perspective, right? Between the two films, Endgame and Infinity War, they what did they tie 1 point something billion dollars they tied up in making those two films?
Yeah, something like that.
Claim.
I mean, they did make money, but so what they're telling us though is they didn't make quite as much money as we thought they did at the end of the day. And this is why we kept telling people when these movies, when they have a $250 million budget, it's make it or break it at $1 billion first and foremost. Yeah. And that's just going by if that's all they spent.
Yeah.
Right. And we know these Avenger films cost a hell, but they knew they were going to make money. So they did give them a little bit more leeway on the budgets, but still, that's not the point. The point is you can't keep doing this.
No.
This is like if a fast food restaurant spent $3 on each sandwich it cost them to make, but they're selling it to their customers at $1.50.
Yeah. Well, that I David Zaslav in his most recent earnings call was pretty smart. They've done a lot of good things. A lot of the right stuff has been put in place. I still have a lot of confidence in David Zaslav as a businessman. I think he's done very well. Pretty clearly, because I think they increased their free cash flow by tenfold or something like that.
Oh yeah, they did a
lot of money.
Job.
Yeah. So but make no mistake, this is them hiding behind the strike as the means for their earnings loss. It is actually because they release garbage.
That was basically what Zaslav was saying earlier last year. He was saying basically Warner Brothers, DC should be the thing that's getting us out of trouble, not putting us in trouble. I think that was a direct shot at what they were dealing with the Flash, because that's what I was saying. Because I kept hearing about the nightmare that was putting together, how many reshoots had gone through it. They'd practically reshot the movie 2-3 times. I mean, the only other movie we heard of that was this bad and was under this much, reshoots over and over constantly was the Rise of Palpatine, which they're still shooting in the desert somewhere with a green screen. I mean, I'm waiting to hear what actually, it'll be funny if we hear that how much that cost.
We will. Everything comes out eventually.
That one might be more expensive than the Flash at the end of the day, but I doubt it.
Indy was crazy expensive. We don't even know the real numbers for that yet. There are so many.
But that's about Disney. Warner Brothers, though, I think. See, Nate's right. Like, because Zaslav is a smart businessman. He knows how to cut losses, cut and run, throw the baby out with the bathwater if you need to start over. Yeah. The only place we're not seeing this, the only place we're seeing inconsistency constantly, and this goes back to the Batman 2 super chat earlier, is DC, because you brought in a president who did not have the balls to say, look, kids, we're starting fresh. So until 2025, sorry, this shit doesn't matter. And they should have waited until after Aquaman to announce it. They let the Snyder fans get to him. Andre's correct in that video he just put out. Yeah. Because that's what I asked a couple times and kept hearing, why did you guys do this now? And they said, nobody understands anything what's going on in James Gunn and Safran's head, but James Gunn and Safran. Like, there's some people in the upper, and I got this confirmed now recently in recent reports, because I was hearing it before, that even some people up in the upper, management were just like, we have no fucking clue what they're doing right now, but they're destroying any goodwill they had going into this. So there's people concerned with what is going on here and why they're doing it this way. And the only answer I kept getting back was they were so pissed at the Snyder fans, because they just kept harassing people and upper management and people who had nothing to do with this. Right, because these people would, and again, it's a twofold thing, but at the same time, I'll give Warner the upper hand that they gave them the Snyder cut and they still wouldn't quit. But that still isn't a good enough reason why they should have done this. They should have let it play out till the end of this year, dumped Aquaman at the end of this year. Then the day after Aquaman opens up, say James Gunn is now the president of DC Films. You have a slate of films you can announce. Boom.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I mean, they've absolutely. They've wrecked themselves. They're burning money. They've destroyed themselves at this point with DC. But great segue there, Tom. Speaking of Aquaman,
oh my god,
love it.
Oh my god, the cock. Oh my god, the cock. Oh my
god. Anyway. Amber Turd, we got to look at her toys. So they're
I don't want to see Amber's toys. I don't want to know what she's into. That chick shits on beds.
Well, look, at least
Oh, you mean like her action figure? My bad.
No porcelain
Oops.
toys. No porcelain based toys. What do we think? I mean, I want to look at this from the angle of Warner Brothers screwing themselves up once again. I mean, this is an issue for them hugely. I think, it wasn't a small amount of people that signed that petition. It was like 5 million odd people that signed the petition saying they won't go to watch Aquaman 2 because of Amber Heard. I don't think people have forgotten. I think Amber Heard is genuine box office poison. Now, the merchandise, I'm amazed they merchandised it. I mean, this is crap anyway. This is the toy. It looks exactly the same as the first one. It's absolute garbage. It looks
Does
like
it not come with the toilet?
I'm surprised it's not pregnant.
Yeah, well, it comes with something you can flush it down the toilet.
Yeah,
if you want to.
Yeah, if you want to clog it, something appears.
Don't comes with a porcelain throne, unfortunately. But this massive misstep for Warner Brothers, huge issue. This will be another huge bomb. There is no way this movie is going to do the $1 billion.
And that's why I think they haven't cut her out of the movie, to be honest with you, because I mean, even at this point, it made more sense to kind of cut her out of the movie because from what we know, spoilers from her own testimony during the trial, she spoiled her entire character arc in Aquaman 2. And I can't believe they just didn't cut it out. Because guess what? That's the only thing, as far as I know, that kind of sets up any plausible future for this franchise. And at this point, we all know this future. There's no future in this franchise.
Well, there is no franchise now. It's done, isn't it?
Well, not only that, it's the worst. It's worst kept secret in Hollywood. That most likely that he's going to come back and not as Aquaman, but as Lobo, because that's who he's wanted to play from the start. What's his name? Momoa.
Yeah. And he'll be perfect for it. To be fair,
that's where he can actually come in and do his shtick, and it works exactly.
Dude, bro, crap, you mean?
Yeah, that's one character where his dude bro, his surfer dude bro from Hawaii would work pretty.
Because I can guarantee you, his first meeting with James Gunn went something like this: "Dude, you're not Aquaman, you're Lobo." He's like, "You can't. Okay, you're serious? I'm gonna be Lobo. I'm gonna try and make it happen." And that's what that phone call was him saying, "I'm in charge, and you're gonna be Lobo." And then I guarantee you that's what it was, because it's just like it seems too perfect. Like Andre said, it's been rumored and permeated from several different sources, including, I believe, the late great Mikey Sutton himself. So,
late great? Is he dead?
Yeah, yes. Sadly, he did pass away recently.
Passed away about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, 25th.
Are you joking?
No.
What? I don't mean to laugh, but I'm so shocked.
Yeah.
All right, then. Well,
yeah.
Unfortunate, isn't it? Jesus. Well, anyway, back to Amber Heard.
He unfortunately had a stroke.
Fucking how old was he?
56, I think. Or how old was he?
Oh, he's quite old then, right? Well,
like in his early 50s, if not, like, yeah.
Wait a minute. Quite old. I'm going to be 53.
Yeah, right?
Wait. Quite old from the perspective of if he's a nerd. And he's getting because I was like, if he's young, is he massively overweight? Did he get a stroke because of that? I was like, what's the coronary heart? What's the situation based? That was my perspective. Thank you very much. Anyway, don't get bogged down on someone that's dead. Let's talk about someone that isn't dead but probably wishes she was. Amber Heard.
Oh, she's hurt.
I think it's more likely she wishes Johnny was dead. But
right.
Yeah.
Well, true. I mean, look, what massive misstep from Warner Brothers, though. What a huge, massive misstep. I mean, they definitely should have cut her out. And there's rumors that she's basically only in the start. Arthur Curry gets married to her, and then she's hospitalized or some nonsense. What?
She is hospitalized she is what she said in the stand. So unless you don't want to know this, plug your ears for about a minute.
I don't think anyone cares.
But I don't think anybody gives a shit. Yeah, she says on the stand she gets hurt in a fight early on in the film, but she thought I think that already got cut out before they even filmed it, because she was bitching about that part. She didn't get to do her big action sequence. So something's going to happen that's going to put her in some sort of coma. But we find out while she's in the coma that she's pregnant with Momoa's baby, well, Aquaman's baby, whatever you want to call it.
She wishes.
She spends most of the movie in a hospital bed. So at this point, I'm like, why don't you just cut her out? Because before all this James Gunn business, That's what they were like juggling was, what do we do with Ezra? What do we do with Amber? And everything I kept hearing was they're definitely going to recast Amber, because at that point they were going to go forward. You guys got to remember, at that point, Aquaman, they needed to fix this movie. And this is one of the reasons why I think some people are like, James Wan went in for exhaustion, because he's been basically working on this movie now nonstop for 3 years. Like constantly just there's so many different versions of this movie.
But they also allowed Jason Momoa's story say they shot a whole fucking nonsense garbage scene of him lecturing the fucking UN. No one wants to see this. No one wants to look at Greta Thunberg, with Aquaman lecturing the UN about climate change. Fuck off. No one's bothered.
Are you serious? Is she actually in the movie? I didn't hear about that.
No,
or you just mean it as a joke? Okay, I was gonna say because that's the thing. Because I kept asking, and they're like, yeah, they're probably going to recast. In fact, we had heard they had meetings with, and I think that was confirmed with what's her face from Game of Thrones,
Emilia Clarke,
but she was already committed to other things, so they were trying to find a spot in her schedule. But then her coming out, when she admitted it, she said something about her brain issue that she has. So I think it was more like she couldn't work underwater and other things too, was another part of it. So that confirmed though that they were talking to other people.
Yeah, because she also had a stroke.
Yeah, she had a stroke a couple of years back. So I think she has issues with being able to like work underwater and other things like that, to where she's like, nope, she can't do it.
Pressure, I think. Wasn't it?
Yep, the pressure of it. Yeah. So like, and that's what we had heard back too. Cause at first we had heard that was who Warner Brothers was set on. That was who they wanted.
That was a persistent rumor as well.
But and then at that point they were like, well, we're going to recast it no matter what, because they were like, well, the Ezra Miller thing's a little bit more difficult because she's barely in Aquaman 2 as opposed to him. He's playing 2.3 parts and he's in the movie so much. But the guy I talked to, who happened to, let's say, be close to special effects, said the press running with this bullshit that it's going to be impossible is bullshit, because this whole movie shot in a green screen. He's like, all you got to do is go in and just replace the actor.
It's just soundstage, mate. Like,
So they're like, that part's not the problem. The problem is that we've already shot this movie once before. The amount of money that's been put into it, Amber's the bigger controversy at the time, and it was just Well,
I'm surprised they didn't cut her out, because I mean, she's now on third? She's on a third appearance, so third contract. I guess she'd be paid quite a lot of money for this movie.
Well, she's already been paid, and that's the whole thing too. Is like, right at this point, I think they're looking at money sunk in. But
but they paid Johnny Depp, and then they just they paid him up his full amount. They paid his full amount for Fantastic Beasts, and then they paid Mads Mikkelsen's fee.
Yeah, that's where they ate some money, and I'm sure that's why they needed somebody like Zaslav to come in and knock that shit off. And I'm sure that's where that point he's like, well, fuck it, we're not finishing the Flash, we're not doing anything more to Aquaman. That's been confirmed now as well, and that's something I reported, I believe, here and on Midnight's Edge, of course, too, where I said
we've been saying for ages.
Yeah, but they quit. I heard it. They quit working on the special effects at some point, and they said, we're done. We're not doing any more to this movie, because they're just going to put it out as is. And I'm assuming they're going to end up doing the same thing now with Aquaman 2, where it's at the point it's at. But they also have to go in and fix whatever things they had left over, because I guess they had the cameo with Michael Keaton. And they also had the one with Ben Affleck, that in case it went another way, because they weren't even sure which direction they were going to go yet. And the thing that I was going to get to earlier was, my point is and every time I talked to somebody about what they were going to do with Amber, they kept saying the same damn thing. And they said, it doesn't really matter, because at the end of the day, the movie has tested worse than any other movie we've tested in the history of testing. Like, I'm sure they were being hyperbolic, but they're like, the movie fucking sucks. Like, everybody says it sucks. It's a horrible piece of shit. Every cut we've shown, people hate. So there's something about the movie that people dislike, and it's not just her, because she's barely in the movie from what I keep hearing. Like, if she's in maybe like 10, 15% of the movie, if that.
Yeah. Excuse me. Right. Let's shuffle on to some of these super chats. I did say actually we'd get to some of these on our last topic, and I sort of overlooked them. So let's go to some of these. So Pilgrim Media for $5 says, could there be a connection of found tweets from James Gunn about Batman and the Batman is a fascist comment? Just a theory.
If it wasn't for that movie was done before James Gunn was even a part of.
Yeah, it was. That has nothing to do with anything.
Yeah,
that's basically just Hollywood line of thinking and manifesting itself right there.
What's that? Their current current stuff. Let's do current stuff and age a movie instantly.
Yeah.
D sent in 20 Australian dollar dues. Says money for the best podcast. Thank you so much. And Jasper's treats. Jasper is hating the heat right now. He is not happy. Although I did post a lovely photo of him over on my Twitter. Please do follow me over on Twitter at Mistakes Reviews. You will see a lovely, cute little picture of the best boy there is. And yes, thank you everyone for tuning in to your favorite podcast. We love putting. I said on Twitter, this is the highlight of my week, putting on this show for you guys. I absolutely adore it. I love doing this show for you. So thank you so much for tuning in. Kerry Kaverga for €5. So speaking about TTs, what do you think about Sydney Sweeney being cast in Madam Web? In this case, I really don't care about the plot. Sydney Sweeney's renowned for quite large, profound TTs.
She's well endowed.
Yeah, she's got some good assets. In terms of being cast in Madam Web, yeah, I'm sure she'll look great in spandex.
They were originally looking at Sandra Bullock.
Were they? Interesting.
And they were but then they wanted to go younger, so they looked at the.
I'm surprised it's still happening. I haven't heard about this movie in 2 years now.
Who's the chick?
Oh, no, they've made a few.
Yeah, but it's been a while.
What is Don Johnson's daughter's name? I always forget.
Dakota Johnson.
Yeah, they were looking at her. But does it surprise me? No, I think Sydney Sweeney's perfect. I think that'll work.
Yeah. I mean, I think Sydney Sweeney is a good cast to bring in the younger audience as well. To be fair, like lots of she's a fan favorite with the younger sort of crowd, so I think that's good. And obviously, men like her. So
yeah.
Well, it's true. Like just being completely blunt about it. It's true.
Well, it's perfect choice then. Men like her, women like her. What's not to like? Fine, maybe activists don't like her, but they weren't going to see the movie anyway. And Sony has.
No, I think activists even like her. I think she's one of these people that's just universally quite liked, appreciated. Quite frankly,
if Amy Pascal has anything to do with it, we're doomed anyway.
Oh, fucking Jesus, that woman.
She's gotten lucky with Spider-Verse. I don't know how she's pulled the woolly over everybody's eyes, but
I can tell you. That's by outsourcing it to the right people, because every single thing that Amy Pascal has done good in her entire career is that she was able to, whether by some modicum of skill or coincidence, she was able to pair the right property with the right talent, and that's to get out of their way. That's the only time she's been successful, and that has happened enough that she's built a career out of it. And that's what happened here. She was able to get like the I forget their names, but like the solo guys, and they were the perfect.
Lord and Miller.
Lord and Miller, yeah, they were the perfect fit for a Spider-Verse.
I guess if you say so.
Yeah, that's all there is to it.
D sent in 10 Australian dollar dues. Says Taylor Swift makes music for people that give toothy fellatio. Fuck's sake.
Hello, what the hell?
Right, let's move on from that.
That's just why we're demonetized.
I didn't even say that one.
I can't. Oh, fucking Jesus. Right. Kay and Kareem said $9.99. Says, I hope they do Bruno Mars and Beyonce next. I'll definitely go because concert tickets are too high now. That's interesting. Like I
seen Beyonce was on tour right now, and that was a big deal. Yeah.
Well, I guess it's depending on who you go see, right? Like I went to see Electric Six last year, I think it was, and their tickets were dirt cheap. You remember Electric Six? Danger, High Voltage.
Now this is one that did not make it into the US, I guess.
This sounds very British. I was
going to say, none of this is ringing any bells. The Gay Bar one, kind of, but not really.
Electric Six is not British.
Where are they
from? I have no idea.
I think they're American.
It just must be one of those things where they made a splash outside the US, but they didn't do.
They're an American rock band from Detroit.
That happens. It happens, man. You'd be surprised how often.
Yeah,
like even Meatloaf was bigger outside of the US than he was.
I don't care. Of all people, I thought Tom was.
No, I mean the Gay Bar song I might know because it kind of sounds familiar. because I'm not gonna forget something like that. But other than
You wouldn't
that,
forget the video.
see, that's the thing
Jesus.
is probably that was it. They probably had a novelty top, maybe creeped into top 100 here with that gay bar
Top.
song, and that's it.
Phrasing.
I'm just saying, I'd have to look it up, but no, I've never even heard of them. No,
Mate. Anyway, Electric Six, great band, very funny, great live, but their tickets were dirt cheap. So I think it's really dependent.
see, they sound like they kind of be
who
like
you
a
go and
Bloodhound
see.
Gang kind of band, probably.
Nah, like you honestly, well, go watch.
I'll
Dance
have to look
Commander.
it up.
Go watch Dance Commander is brilliant. It's an epic rock song, but funny as hell.
Okay,
Anyway,
I'll have to check them out.
John
Electric
Apocalypse
Six.
said it £2. Says thoughts on trailers for Friday night for 5 nights at Freddy's and Chicken Run 2.
I haven't watched the Chicken Run 2 one. I refused to because they dumped on Mel Gibson and didn't bring him back.
5 Nights at Freddy's. It looks PG-13.
It looks PG-13. I do want to say one thing about the concert thing though. I have this thing about I haven't been to many concerts in my life, but I refuse to go to a concert where I know that there's not going to be a real band playing. Right?
Oh no, mate, Electric Six.
That bothered, and it has nothing to do with that part. But I'm talking like Beyonce and some of these other ones. I guarantee you, a lot of the stuff they have is backup music. It's not real bands and shit. And I hate that because then you can guarantee they're lip syncing, and that's the thing is most of them anymore are. And if I'm only going to be so far back that they're going to be like the size of a penny, then what's the point?
Yeah, no, I agree.
I might as well just wait till the concert video comes out because I mean, I'm just not going to spend that kind of money. Now, I've gone to a couple different concerts, and the best one I went to was John Mellencamp of all concerts. You know what's funky? It was really stripped down. They didn't even have a real drummer. They had a bongo player, but it was amazing. They had an electric violin player though too. That was kind of cool.
I have to say this too because I'm also a very avid concert goer.
You go to a lot more than I could ever dream
especially of. Before I went to before I had kids and stuff, and with concerts where like huge stadium concerts, where you just see like a prick there in the distance. You know what the secret is? Well, that maybe came out wrong, come to think of it. When I meant like a little spot right there in the distance, that's what I meant to say. But anyway, that's basically, you just got to fight your way all the way to the first row, and then you are good. I mean, I don't care about those people.
That was basically me at Third Eye Blind, but yeah.
Yeah, so I like it because I have the body for concerts. I'm tall, I'm big. If I decide I'm going to be at the very first row, I will get to the very first row, one way or the other. But anyway, point being then, that other than the Rammstein and the Metallica and stuff like that, the best concert I've ever been to, and this goes to Tom's point, is Leonard Cohen. And I was at one of the last concerts he ever did before he died.
Oh wow!
He was like way into his 80s. I was like thinking, I mean, like,
Jesus,
what am I even doing here?
Did they literally wheel him out onto stage or what?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. They're gonna wheel him out on stage. Like, this is like cruelty to animals. It must be like just his representation forcing him to do this or something. But as it turned out, it was amazing. Like, they practically had to wheel him out, but the moment the show started, dude, that guy came to life like Mick Jagger, and he was rocking and he was feeling it. The crowd was blown away. It was one of the best concerts I've ever been to, and it was literally no special effects, no lighting. It's really just him, the orchestra, the backing.
That's what it should be,
and it was amazing.
That's because then it's all about the music, and that was the same thing with Mellencamp, right? It wasn't about the pizzazz. It wasn't about all the flair. It was just about the music, and I'm like, how is he going to make all his hits sound that good? Because this was during his greatest hits tour too. I'm like, how is he going to make all his songs sound good? And he managed it.
Kay and Kareen says Beyonce has her own band, and so
okay, that's good. I didn't know for sure, Kareen. I just saying like there's some people like that. I've seen the clips and stuff, and it's not only that. A lot of them use auto-tune live now. Believe it or not, it's insane. It's
yeah. Let's shuffle on now. From one Amber Turd to, I guess, the polar opposite of that. Apparently, Pirates of the Caribbean reboot. So this is fascinating for a few reasons. Because it's from Craig Mazin, the guy who did Chernobyl and The Last of Us. It's surprising to me that all these headlines are like The Last of Us showrunner. Chernobyl surely the better selling point there.
Well, Last of Us was the most recent hit that people talked about. So
yeah, I mean, I understand that, but the bigger hit would be Chernobyl. But anyway,
Really? I don't know.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Anyway,
I think so too.
Maybe.
Thank you. Thanks for backing me up. Last of Us showrunner reveals Disney is moving forward with this weird Parts of the Caribbean reboot. So we're getting a reboot. Apparently, it's weird. So basically, details on another Parts of the Caribbean movie that had started taking shape at Disney prior to the strikes. So Craig Mazin tells the Los Angeles Times that he pitched an idea for the 6th installment before the pandemic, and Disney has chosen to start actively developing it, basically. Just as it was starting to take shape. Now the strikes have obviously stopped that, but it's happening, he says. So he says, we pitched it and thought there's no way they're buying it because it's too weird. And they did. Then he wrote a fantastic script and the strike happened and everyone's waiting around. So they pitched a story and they were like, right, give us a script to that. And seemingly that's the reboot. I mean, what do we think of that? Because we've had so many rumors and rumblings about this, from Margot Robbie starring in a femme fatale reboot of Pirates of the Caribbean. And now apparently it's a Craig Mazin one, but still no Johnny Depp in sight. What do we think?
Without Johnny Depp, you might as well just say no.
It won't work.
Because that's the only thing that's bringing people back. I mean, you can prove that with how the franchise has kind of ebbed and flowed as it was.
Massive decline.
The main thing that people always were, that they want to see is Johnny Depp play that role. I mean, that's the only reason to see it. So no, I'm not interested without him.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, it was a massive decline since Johnny Depp. Yeah, I mean, and I think what's important to note as well is how big that trial became a sort of a cultural phenomenon as well. You then reboot Pirates of the Caribbean off the back of that without him. That's in everyone's minds. I think that bombs even worse than
My point is like most people don't like most of the sequels. Like you ask anybody, most people don't like any of them, but maybe the first one and the second one, and that's it. And most people just tell you the first one, the only one that's worth a crap, but don't know. If anything, they'll say, well, at least Johnny Depp's good in them. Especially the third film. I'll bring up his performance in the third film is great. I mean, he has some of his best moments in the third film, the moments that people always quote and stuff. But anyway, you can't do it without him. You can't.
I agree. I mean, they are his films. That they were centered around that character. It's such a weird thought process to do it without him as well. Like Pirates of the Caribbean is synonymous with Captain Jack Sparrow. That they are one and the same, essentially. People don't view Pirates of the Caribbean as Pirates of the Caribbean featuring Jack Sparrow. They view it as Jack Sparrow and Pirates of the Caribbean one and the same. So it's a weird approach that they're taking to even attempt as a reboot without him. It's so bizarre.
So what's the weird part of this guy's take too? Because that's the whole thing he's trying to sell it on. I don't.
Well, apparently we don't know. No, literally no idea at all. No idea at all. But
then why even bring it up? Weird. That's what bothers me. Is like, why even bring it up if you're not going to kind of give us a hint or
headliner? I guess.
Everybody right now is just doing things to stay relevant, Tom.
Yeah, I get that, but I mean, what is he doing? I hope he wrote this before the strike was over.
Of course he did.
Or before the strike started, I mean, not over.
Yeah, he was talking about it.
So. Yeah, the script was finished, apparently. Wrote a fantastic script, and then the strike started.
Oh, darn.
Yeah. Well, so apparently it was active development.
Well, good thing we didn't get the strike then, because imagine what kind of notes Disney would have given him. I mean, it's not like this writer is free to write what he wants. This is Disney. Disney will basically have said that, okay, we now need a reboot, and these are the parameters under which you will write this movie. And he would have gotten these parameters at the same time that Disney also delivered their parameters for Snow White and stuff like that. So what kind of bullet did we dodge here? Doesn't matter how good the writer is. It's a matter of what kind of movie do the producer.
You know what I think this is? Because remember, even though Margot Robbie said and confirmed that, yeah, she was in talks to do something that fell apart, we had heard, and I think Culture, you had brought this up too at some point, or you were maybe where I heard the story originally, They were still going forward with the whole Jack Sparrow daughter storyline, just a different writer. So that's probably who this was.
Probably.
Maybe.
Probably.
The Jackie Sparrow or whatever the hell they're going to call her. I don't know. If
Jackie Sparrow. Oh dear, oh dear, dear, oh dear.
And how many years did the piracy like that reign? Because you'd have to figure, okay, to have him have a daughter that's that old.
A piracy like that was going on for quite some time.
That's what I was asking, is how long? Because like
centuries.
Centuries?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a long time.
But when the movie started, it's already getting onto the like. I was trying to remember because when the first one opens, it's like, isn't it already in the late part of the 16th century or something like that, or the 17th century already?
Then they have like another, and then they still have like another 150.
Okay, years. That's what I was curious about. I couldn't remember. It's been a while. I'm not real good at history. That's why I always ask you guys.
Time period is not an issue. They had plenty time for Jack Sparrow to both have kids and grandkids, and still.
All right, that's what I was curious about. All right, now one thing I do know, there's other pirates that we're supposed to talk about before we're done here too.
Oh, you fucking segue. Great segue there, Tom. I love it.
That's what I do for a living, my friend. That's why Andrew pays me the big bucks.
We are supposed to talk about the pirates. Here we go. So I have watched the entirety of One Piece. Loving these stingers from you culture. Absolutely love it. I've watched the entirety of One Piece. I released my review today. It's a great show. It's genuinely a great show. And before we get on to this, because basically it is being review bombed. I say review bombed, and I take that with a pinch of salt. It's not like universally review bombed. But the people that are reviewing it negatively are reviewing it negatively for the most ridiculous reasons. And it needs to be highlighted because it's hilarious. So I say review bombed in the lightest possible sense. But I want to get your opinions of it, those that have seen any element of One Piece now. I know Culture, you've seen some, and Tom has seen some.
Andre, right before this show. Andre?
I have not seen it yet.
That's absolutely fine. What did you think of it, Tom? As someone who's got no association with it at all whatsoever.
Okay, yeah. Full disclosure.
Episode, didn't you?
Never read one of the mangas, never seen one of the animes, never really even knew what it was about. I've heard people talk about One Piece time and time again. The only thing I know about One Piece is that it's like the longest running manga / anime series in the history, whatever, because they've got like 30 seasons and like some 900 some odd books or whatever it is. Anyway, I don't know anything about that stuff. So you need to know that first and foremost. What I do love so far, even though I have no horse in this race yet until today when I watched the first episode, that I love seeing the nerd fights about this. You want to know why? Not a single one of them has been about woke shit. It has been about pedantic nerd shit. It is like, finally, we're getting back to pedantic nerd arguments where it's like this and that is a problem, or this wasn't like the original thing, and why did they change this? That being said, watch the first episode. I had no idea this was even about pirates until I started watching it. I kind of liked it. You know what really kind of started sucking me in is the world. The world was, this is something we've had a problem with, and this is something Script Doctor and I talk about all the time, is you have to make your world believable. You can do anything you want in your movie as long as it's a part of that world and you make the world believable. And that's why a lot of people are sick and tired of real world politics making their way into any kind of movies, because unless you're going to see a movie that's supposed to be about those things, that's what you want to see. You want to be in a world taken away. And I love that this is like a world that's built on the idea that it's a world of piracy and you've got this whole thing going on. And I like the main character. The kid, I understand he's likable, right? Because not to spoil anything, but like I've only seen the first episode, so I have no idea what happens after this. But I like how you have these reluctant people joining his crew.
Yeah.
Because sort of like, I can understand, because he is likable, and it's because he just doesn't give up, and he has this just way about him, right?
Whimsical
and this is the kind
charm.
Yes, a whimsical charm about him. The actor, the kid they got playing him, I don't know anything about the original version of the character, but this kid's brilliant. I like listening to him talk. I love the way he talks. I love the way he acts. I love his his shtick, because it kind of reminds me of a Jackie Chan kind of whimsical thing, like you said, with his fighting style. And when you find out he's got this special power, it's kind of funny how he uses it and stuff. And they do a great job of introducing you to everything as you need to know it. It's not overly shadowed with all this other business, and I'm not drugged through the mud waiting to find shit out. Something happens, I'm told how come, and then I move on. That's what I need. And so far, I'm enjoying it. I'm going to go back and I'm going to watch some more when I get some time. That's my problem, is being able to fit, this kind of stuff in my schedule. But I'm surprised. I'm not an anime fan normally, but I am a Kung Fu movie fan. So there's enough of that kind of shit in here. So that's what it is to me right now. Is like, if you took Pirates and mixed it with Kung Fu, this is what you get.
Yeah, you are completely wrong. Culture, what did you think of it, chap?
I didn't get to see it, but based on what I've seen of the manga, I thought it was great. Based on what I've seen of the anime, I think it's great. I mean, looking at the visuals, I think it represents everything well, but I can't speak to whether or not
Did you not watch it at all?
I didn't get a chance to. No, I saw a couple I saw a couple of clips. You didn't say anything. It's always my fault.
Well, so just to put it out there, the reason why I didn't say anything about getting anyone to watch this was I didn't have high hopes for it.
Oh, wow.
And then I watched it and I'm like, oh, God damn, this is really good. Yeah. And I stayed up until 12:30 last night to watch it. And then I finished it today and I was like, this is amazing. Like, I had such a good time with it. But again, the reason why we're including this as part of the segment is that, Tom is a great entry point to this topic because, like I said, lightheartedly, and I use the term loosely, it's being review bombed. Now, you'll see this number, 83 critics. It's not actually that. So you go to the top critics, it's 62%. So what we'll do is we'll go and have a look at what they actually say. And the negative ones are the most hilarious about it. So we'll go to all critics. Sorry, we'll go to all critics. So, oh no, all audience. Jesus Christ. All critics. Sorry, right, here we go. So Tom, you raised an interesting point. You've never seen it at all, but they start coming out with the most nonsensical pieces of crap you've ever seen. The legions of existing fans will likely eagerly enlist in this ocean-faring adventure. Bearing in mind, you're right, Tom. It is literally one of the longest-running, well-liked anime mangas of all time. So they're saying this is a negative. The legions of fans will like it. What? So a lot of people, you mean? The majority? Fucking idiots. And who knows? They might find plenty of company. Still, this is for you, Tom. Those who just want to see what the fuss is all about will likely be left feeling high and dry. Were you left feeling high and dry, Tom?
Some of the stuff I liked about it might be subjective. I'm not going to say that it won't be, but I don't feel like I was left going, well, what's that mean? Well, what's this all about? Oh my God, this is dragging on. Like any moment where I did feel like it was kind of slowing down a bit, we would get some kind of action sequence or whatever, but the characters are constantly moving and you've got like different, goals that intersect, in that first episode. And I wish I could talk beyond that right now, but so in that sense, no, I haven't seen later in the show though, so I can't speak to if it gets better or worse. I'm only going off of one episode.
Yeah. This one's a funny one from Pramit Chatterjee. It says Netflix One Piece is a horrible show. It's essentially a Cliff Notes version of the anime. Well, it's a manga adaptation, bud. So you got that wrong. So it's actually a manga adaptation. When he says, it's trying to be over the top, but it shoves the camera in people's faces. I mean, that's literally what page is taken directly from the pages of the manga, is that the framing is literally people's faces nonstop. So yeah, tends to be like that. So the complaints from people are quite literally the good things that people like about the show, that it is fan service and stuff. Polygon, there is a real treasure to be found here, a genuine celebration of Ichiro Oda's work. Just under the surface of these 8 episodes, maybe we'd see it if the show came from anywhere else. I massively disagree with that. That's not like review bombing specifically. So there's this one. Look, if the best result one can hope for is an approximation of the original, close or far, what does this version of One Piece provide that the original can't? Do you know what adaptation means?
Yeah, and I'm not sitting down and reading 900 volume fucking manga Or there's no way I can consume 30 years worth of anime shows. No way.
She's literally complaining that it's close to the original. Well, what does this give that the original can't? Access to people that don't want to read it, like you just said, Tom, maybe? Like,
yeah, that's where I'm at. Sometimes I want that. That's what I know what the movie or the TV adaptation is. It's like, give me that. Like, I don't need all this extra shit sometimes, you know. It's not into that all the time.
Apparently, as well, Netflix One Piece feels bland and generic. Those bland and generic, gum bazooka, gum superpowers and things. That's definitely bland and generic. I see that in everything. I see that in my sitcoms. I see pirates in my sitcoms, don't you? That's very bland and generic, Tom. As the only person that's seen it as well. Do you feel this is bland and generic?
Considering that the only pirate thing we've had in the last, decade or two that's actually worked has been Pirates of the Caribbean, and we just got off a story where we can see where that thing's about to fall off a cliff without Johnny Depp. I'd have to say that this is one of the more interesting pirate things I've seen in a while, because I think that's where Disney Star Wars has really screwed the pooch, is when you're going to do a space pirate movie and you pick Han Solo and you literally give him the same arc he has in Star Wars, when it's like, we didn't get to see him be a pirate.
Yeah.
He's supposed to be this great space pirate, and he's not. He's just he's a sucker for a pretty face, basically, is what we've learned.
So, there was
sorry, that was off topic, but no, like I like the melding of the two kind of styles here. With, like I said, it's like a kung fu movie meets with a little bit of superhero movie in there too, with the the power. But
there was a hilarious CNN one as well. Here we go. So if you look into this a little bit further, this is how bad they get, and it is really, really bad in terms of what their complaints are. So, so again, their complaint, guys, is literally, so billed by the Daily Beast as the most hyped Netflix show of the year, One Piece has clearly been assembled with tender love and care, no small amount of Netflix's money. That's all good, right? Wrong, apparently. Conjuring the occasional giant monster, elaborate action sequence and sword fights, as well as bizarre makeup that looks like rejected outtakes from Lord of the Rings, plus Netflix.
Whoa, slow down, time out there. Which Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. Well, this is true.
Because I'll tell you what, there was only one time in this first episode that I noticed any kind of, let's say, the seams showing, and that was when the one character was jumping from rope to rope. You could see that his jacket was being pulled up by his line that they removed digitally. That's the only time I noticed anything. And other than that, the CGI and how this all blends and stuff looks a hell of a lot better than all the. I could tell they weren't using the volume stages or anything here. It didn't look like, to me at least. So I could be wrong, but it sure didn't look like it.
Yeah, and then they're like, oh, it's based on most popular manga series ever, quarter century.
The wigs are a little chintzy. I see Wolf Zombie bring that up, but I didn't know if that was because they're trying to make it like, that was the thing, is the way I see this world and the way I see these characters, they're trying to be stylistic. So I mean, I that didn't bother me, I guess. I don't know.
And they're even like, look, this live action Netflix series version of the outlandish pirate adventure feels like a poor place to start, offering scant incentive to bother trying to catch up now. It's honestly, it's all over the place. These reviews are madness. They say how good the VFX are and things. The VFX are amazing. Didn't you feel like the set pieces were incredible?
I thought they were fine. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I mean, I haven't gotten beyond the first episode, good. So yeah. I mean, they showed a trailer for what's to come, and it looked like there's some pretty outlandish stuff to come. But
it's so good. The set pieces are absolutely unbelievable. You will.
Well, what are these critics expecting? I mean, unless they know the original anime and manga,
they don't.
That's what I'm saying. Because look, I get it. After one episode is all I needed to understand this.
Apparently they don't understand that it's bland and generic.
What? I've never seen anything like this. Are they expecting, like, what is bland and generic about it?
Well, generic. Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, wait. What is? Check this out, Tom. Later in the episodes, you'll see that they communicate via telephone snails.
Yeah, well, I saw that in the first. Yeah, they do have one in the first thing where it's like, oh, okay, that's
Well,
weird.
that's generic. And I've seen that in everything.
No, that kind of took that's what I'm saying. It's kind of hard for me just to say it's Kung Fu meets Pirates because there is more to it. You're right. There's sort of more layers to it. Like that's something almost felt like something out of like Dune, right, or something like that, or like some other kind of sci-fi thing. Like there's a lot of those elements they're throwing in here, but you also have this. You know, you can clearly tell what they're setting up with. You know, he has this map now, and you know the other bigger pirates are going to keep coming after him. The bigger pirates on the list because they keep making this list a big deal. And that's the kung fu part of it, right? Like I get it.
You'll see it like it becomes a sort of villain of the week, but it's fun,
I get it.
It's an anime, it's a manga for goodness sake. So I don't know. It's like what do these fucking critics want at this point? Seriously, like Netflix
have a bunch of freaking preaching in it. That's what I noticed. Like,
well, you will see, Tom, if you keep watching it, you'll see, and I think this is what irked them as well, is that there's a scene with a boy and a girl, young. It's a flashback, and the girl says to the boy, girls can beat boys, but women can't beat men. You know, what's the point of me even trying? Because you'll grow and get stronger, and men, you know, beat women easily. And it's like, oh, I bet the critics didn't like that. Oh, fuck off, honestly.
That's not totally true because women have pussy power when they become women.
Oh my god, you're right. Are you going to keep watching it, though, Tom? To round out this segment, are you going to keep watching it? Do you think?
I think I will. I'm going to definitely check in at least to another episode or two because Yellow Flash is trying to force us to watch it for this weekend anyway.
Mate, you will get hooked. Honestly, you will.
I mean, so far I'm liking it. I mean, and I don't like things very easily, as you know. Like I'm a pretty salty dude.
I think Yellow Flash is happy to welcome you to Weebhood.
Don't get ahead of yourself. I seen that in the chat too. I ain't that no way I'm getting near close to becoming a weeb or starting to watch any anime shit. Yeah,
Culture, will you watch it? Do you
no, for sure. I just haven't had time. No, indeed.
Andre, this might not be your cup of tea, but do you like what you hear at the very least?
Absolutely. Do I like it? I'm very, very glad that the fans are liking it. Maybe in time I will check it out too. Is it my cup of tea? Like in terms of like content, like manga stuff in general? No. But you know what? That doesn't matter. Not everything has to be for me. What I see is it's something that brings a lot of joy to a lot of people. And so I'm happy. I'm very glad that it does. I'm glad that they nailed it. You know why? Because even if this thing here by default isn't for me, maybe I watched and I love it. That could very well be. But more importantly, Netflix will be rewarded by, hey, this was the right way to do it. People like this. People are watching this in the same way that they didn't with The Witcher. But they did watch Stranger Things. Maybe we got something right on those two. Maybe we should consider doing what we did on those two and other things as well. Wouldn't that be something? See,
this is what I'm hoping that the lesson that they learn.
Yeah, that's what they should take away from this. And then maybe one day I can get my Mysterious Cities of Gold, which is not technically manga, I guess, although the Japanese and the animation was Japanese back in the day.
If you don't like it, I think you'll still turn around and respect it for what it's trying to do.
Yeah, I do.
I know your taste well enough to kind of gauge that at least out of it.
Yeah.
Let's. We've got 2 more super chats to get to, so we're actually sending $5. There's some wampum for your demonetization or your demonization. That Godzilla trailer is phenomenal. It makes me more excited to see it on the big screen. I agree. And thank you so much. Dragon Reborn sent in £5. Says news is being said that the weirdos want Monkey D. Luffy to be gay to represent LGBT, the Alphabet Mafia, as they want to be represented. I have heard that. It's total nonsense. They're never going to get it. You can't. It's not a part of the manga, and the creator is a big part of that show, so he's not going to do it. Tyler Reeves sent in $5. Says I finished season 1 of One Piece yesterday and loved it. Good. I'm so glad people are enjoying it. So ladies and gents, just real quick, just as an FYI, thank you so much for all of the super chats. Means a lot. Thank you honestly so much. This podcast, your favorite podcast, is funded by you guys for you guys. If I sounded a bit wavy, I've had quite a lot of beer tonight, so I was a little bit half cut for a bit of the show. I've sobered up a lot now, just as an FYI. And I was celebrating, so a lot of people will know I've been getting ready to do a master's degree, and I was celebrating just finally finishing off all of the pre-entry course stuff that I had to do. So for those that don't know, I've been a teacher. I've taught college level qualifications, but I myself have never actually been to college. I've never actually been to college. I don't have any degrees or anything like that, but I have managed to gain entry to do a doctorate, to do a master's degree based around numerous other bits and pieces of my career. So basically, I fucking celebrated. So I'm very proud of myself, as I'm sure everyone else would be, and you guys are as well. So thank you so much for bearing with me whilst I was a little bit woozy today. Culture Casino, Tom Connors, Andre, what have you got going on? Let's do a quick clockwise spaff around here. What's happening?
Dropped a dismal Disney video today that I think is worth everybody's time. A complete evaluation of why I think that their stock price is tanking and likely will continue to go south here in the future. That's not financial advice. It's just information. And yeah, the 6-minute daily every weekday is there in the mornings for you to find out everything that's going on in the world. It's a lot of fun.
Tom, what's going on?
Well, I'm going to try and eat quick before mead here in about 25-ish minutes or so. So hopefully I got enough time to run downtown and back. But yeah, no, other than that, that's what I got going on. Then I got Toxic Tuesday where we're going to talk about Ninja Turtles. So yeah. Hope to see you guys there.
Well, we just dropped a video where we interview Graham Hancock for an hour and a half. It's being hard suppressed by YouTube. So really needs all of you guys' help to watch it, like it, and share it, because YouTube seems determined that no one is going to see it. So need you guys to help counter that. And of course, we have Midnight's Edge in the morning tomorrow at 6 p.m. Central European Time, 5 p.m. UK time, and 9 a.m. LA time. And for all other times, do the math.
Fantastic. What have I got? What's going on with me? All the same usual bits and pieces. Please do check out everyone's channels linked down below. Check out the second channel, my second channel, Mistakes Reviews Live Archives, for this stream. It will go up there later in the week along with all the clips and the best bits. But from me and everyone else, thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye now.